Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing well and ready for a loaded day here on the show. We've got guests pretty much lined up, I guess, the whole way through 11:30. Brandon Clear, top of the hour. We will be joined by Adam Lamparello, the man himself, official legal representation here on the show. Talk about a number of things. And, of course, at 12:30, we got to get the latest on some other sports, man. We can't be football 24/7. I mean, we can. But we got to dive into a little bit of baseball and, of course, softball, man. We got to show them some love. Both sports doing some really good stuff. And who better than to ask than Gray Robertson, who gets to call both of those sports. Definitely really involved with softball. And we'll get the latest on what those two teams have going on. So we'll do that at 12:30. But, again, Brandon Clear, 11:30, diving into all things football, Alabama football, spring game, all that good stuff. Adam at the top of the hour, and then Gray Robertson. So we got a fun one lined up. Plus, if you guys have seen the title here on the stream, or any of the streams, I should say, because we do stream live on YouTube every day at the Miller's Edge, live on X as well at the Miller's Edge, and, of course, on the Tide 100.9 Facebook page. Well, we're going to be projecting the Alabama starting offense for 2026. Now, it seems like we're probably a day or two behind. Listen, I wanted to get to it earlier, but I told myself I wanted to wait until spring officially concluded to kind of get into some of these things. That's why tomorrow we'll do the superlatives, right? We talked about that yesterday. But today officially marks the end for spring practice. They just finished. As a matter of fact, they're probably just walking off the field right now. And that concludes spring. So that's it. I know it felt like it was it this weekend. Felt like it was already over Saturday after A-Day, but a little bit different schedule. You got Morgan Wallen coming into town. And I don't know if you guys have seen some of these pictures, but the stadium looks pretty sweet. I'm not going to lie, because I'm just seeing all like the towers and the structures being put up. And I'm like, dang, man, like it's crazy how much goes into putting on an event like that. But I can only imagine what the finished product's going to look like. And it's going to be pretty wild to see, like, all right, we just went from how it looked on Saturday with A-Day, then a week later, big stage, all these structures and all that stuff. But anyway, they had practice today. It was the last one. And that concludes spring. So that's it. Helmet, shoulder pads, they're going back in the lockers. They're stuffed away, stored away for the next 2-3, probably about 3 months or so, right? About July, late July. So 3 months and some change. So all they've got now coming up for the summer portion is the weight room. Still got 7-on-7. You still can go out there and do some walkthrough stuff. You can get your, one-on-one pass rush, but there's no pads. So we'll definitely have to kind of keep up with it the best that we can. No media availability or anything like that, but we always got eyes and ears, and maybe there'll be some updates we'll talk about. But we'll be diving into some other schools and teams as well over the course of the summer, talking about who's on Alabama's schedule, especially the SEC teams. We'll dive into the Georgias, the LSUs, the A&Ms. I talked yesterday after we got off air. Want to start doing some more film breakdowns. You guys threw a lot of really good suggestions out there. A lot of you guys wanted to go back to 2024. It was really interesting, man. You guys were like, nah, we haven't closed that chapter out. Chase, Reed, they wanted, I think you guys had to get out of here. But they wanted to go back and see Vanderbilt from 24. They wanted to go back and see Oklahoma from 24, which was interesting. So maybe we'll go back in the archives a little bit. But we're going to be breaking down some tape and maybe even some players. We'll do all that over the next few months. But don't worry, just because spring ball is done, we still got plenty to talk about. Of course, with other sports, plenty of other things going on. You got the UFL, A.J. McCarron and a company, I think, hosting their first home game this weekend, which I think Gucci Mane's supposed to be performing. So we'll see how that whole thing turns out. I don't know if you guys saw the other game, but Ludacris was performing in one of these games. And unfortunately, man, it didn't do too much for the attendance, which growing up, believe it or not, I was probably one of the biggest Ludacris fans there was, because before the Pastor of Pain was, in fact, the Pastor of Pain, he had Ludacris like on every CD. He had every Ludacris CD. And I remember, I don't know, Reed, Chase, you guys might be a little too young for this. Granted, I ain't that old, but Word of Mouth. Have you guys heard of that album before?
Word of Mouth.
Hell no, that's a no. So. That's a no. I can tell by the way you said it. Chase, let's get some seasoning in here. Chase, come on, please don't let me down.
Well, he just walked out.
Oh my goodness!
When he comes back in, I'll run it to him.
Listen, Reed. If you haven't heard of Word of Mouth, you got to go check it out. Now, I don't know what kind of music you're into. Listen, I listen to everything from rock to country to rap, hip hop. I mean, you name it, right? But word of mouth is a classic, man. If you're if you like hip hop and you're from the South, it's one of those classics, man. I mean, Ludacris, Atlanta, and those guys, man. Like back in the day, that was what was going. And I was like probably 5 or 6 years old at this time, but I'll never forget. My dad had that CD. I think Ludacris is on the cover with his afro all blown out and stuff. And now, like, I used to want to be like Ludacris growing up. I don't know why. I just like the music. Now, trust me, I had no business listening to Ludacris back then. I think there's some clean versions. But anyway, so he performed at a UFL game. And I was like, dang, it's just crazy, man. If that was me, I would have been like, yeah, I might go pull up and go watch a football game and see Ludacris. But I don't think it really moved the needle. Maybe Gucci can this weekend with the Stallions game. But anyway, we got plenty of stuff to talk about. Plus, the NFL draft's coming up, man. It's right around the corner. I believe it's, what is it, next Thursday? We're about a week away, right? Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think it's a week away.
Yeah, I think it's next Thursday. So we'll definitely start kind of diving back into that conversation, especially next week. We'll start doing all that, maybe predicting who we might think could be a first round draft pick, second round. I want to play a game next week. I got to stop giving out my ideas, man. But I do want to play a game trying to, guess each round for every Alabama guy that is in this year's draft. So we'll get into all of that next week. So a lot of exciting stuff, but today will be where our feet are, and that's going to be projecting Alabama starting offense. I got a graphic that I'm getting ready to throw up here on X. So if you guys want to check that out, and of course, I accidentally just discarded the tweet, so I'm going to have to restart. No big deal. But I also put it on the screen here. So we'll be doing that. We'll be taking a look here in a second about who we think are going to be Alabama starters for this upcoming season. Now, I think, at least for me, this is what I realized when I was doing this. I didn't have trouble for about 9 of the positions. There's maybe 2 that I'm kind of like, I guess maybe 3. We'll get to that here in a second. The injury to Noah Rodgers really threw me off with the receivers. I had that one on lock before the injury. Then once he got hurt, I think it's almost kind of a toss-up right now because I think you might move some guys around, especially going off of what we had seen at A-Day and where certain guys lined up. But we'll dive into that, and I want to get y'all's thoughts on it when I do put it on X. So make sure you follow us over there. That way you can see it. And I also have it on the screen of the streams. But for all the radio listeners, don't you worry, guys. You know me. I'm going to go in depth, and I'm going to make sure I really explain it in detail so you see exactly. You can visualize it. If you're not driving, just feel free to pull up the stream. That also helps. Looks like we got ourselves a visitor, and he's in a much better – listen – I love being in the Lamparello Law Studios here. I mean, I take pride in them, man. We got some beautiful lights in the background. We got the beautiful, helmets and the jersey on display. And then in the top, you can see right next to that Panthers jersey, we have our latest edition, man, our newly received Abby Award that we received from the weekend. So I love being in the Lamparello Law Studios, man. It's comfortable. But I'm looking at the Pastor Payne right now. I see nice baby blue skies. I see some nice trees in the background, but correct me if I'm wrong. You're not on a boat, are you?
You heard that song, Something About a Boat. You know what I mean? I'm on what we call a
That's beyond a boat.
So,
yeah,
this is my friend. I'm on Rice Quarters, a great friend of mine and yours. You've been on here.
I don't know about the boat. I know Mr. Rice, but I don't know. I don't remember being on the night. That's a beautiful craft you're on right there, man.
You're on the small Rice Quarters. This is the new one, and this is where I've been coming for 20 plus years during the week of Monday after the Masters. I just left North Myrtle Beach with the Hootie Boys, and by the way, I finished second in the tournament. The 30th year anniversary, I finished second. Me and Chesson Hadley.
Wait. How much did you contribute? Because I mean, you are the king. You are the king of participation trophies here.
Well,
literally,
listen,
no pun intended here.
I participated with my putter. I mean, because these guys hit the 340. I mean, Chesson hit 350. I mean, like, why am I even going to pull my driver? I don't have that kind of pride, right? So listen, I'm gonna sit in the car.
Wait. You're telling me, out of all people, Mr. 300, Mr. former NFL linebacker, Mr. I got watermelons as biceps. I made these biceps from lifting watermelons. They're looking a little smaller these days, but you're telling me you don't take pride in driving the ball no more? I mean,
not when dude that's 190 pounds hitting the 340 and embarrass me hitting the 240. So listen, Yes, I take pride in just sitting there and watching them in excellence. While I chip and putt and made eagle putts, things like that, doing which help us get to second place. So I contribute. It's a team sport, captain's choice. But anyway, I come there, and Mr. Rice and his family, great friends of mine, and of course, I broadcasted from TV. I broadcast from my radio show back in the day. I've been here. Sometimes on the top. I'm on the main level right here now. As you can see, some yachts there in the background. This is Harbor Town. The heritage is going on right now as we speak, just to my left over here. And so I said, I'm going to definitely get on the show this week and hang out. This award-winning broadcast. Congratulations to you, by the way. You've done most of the work. I just, I'm kind of like, what's that song? Hanging out in the passenger side, best friends ride, hollering at me. That's kind of what I do. You know what I mean? So, I'm not a scrub though, but you know what I mean. It's kind of like I'm just riding. You know what I mean? I ride, throw a little something in the show, but I was part of the startup of it, though, for sure. They got us where we need to go.
I listen. I added you and made sure we had you on the graphic thing, man. Listen, I listen. You gotta give credit where it's due, and while the consistency is definitely not quite there, man, you can't deny the entertainment aspect and everything you do, Brand. People love when you're on here, and it makes the show, the true dynamic of it right now. I love the whole solo thing and being Mr. Analytical, but let's just call a spade, man. People like the back and forth, right? That's kind of what makes us unique. So absolutely.
We're gonna turn that up. If I'm gonna be on here more, like now that I've officially resigned as pastor at the church, so. I'll be on here for sure more. I'll take the summer down and football season. I'm gonna be ready to go. But
I love that. Well, let me say this real quick because Mike had a great comment here. He and it's perfect. You just mentioned that, so you took a step back from the church. It might be time for a new nickname. Mike has a good one. How about the Captain of Pain? I mean, you're on a yacht. I kind of like it. I kind of like the Captain of Pain. I mean, you're in the Hall of Captains in South Carolina too. I mean, it works. The Captain of Pain. I mean, I'm not saying you're still doing your ministry work, but you get what I'm saying.
I'm doing Giants for Christ, what I speak of, as an evangelist. But listen, this place, you've been here, and I was thinking about this morning. I brought you and CJ here.
There's a picture of it.
Right, y'all were little, and it was during the Easter weekend. We came here, was on the boat. We did a sunrise. I made y'all get up out the bed with blankets, took the blankets off the hotel room bed, and we went out there at the ocean and did sunrise service. Y'all probably didn't even care, but that was good. But yeah, they ask about you all the time. Yeah, there's a picture. They keep up with you. They follow the show, and they said congratulations about what they were talking about last night. Very very proud Gamecocks and proud of you for sure. But yeah, man, listen. If we get enough sponsors, we can get a yacht, and we just travel around and do shows from the yacht all across. You know where it's warm. You know what I mean? Like it's 75 degrees. I mean, I got both. I wish I could walk out and show it to you.
Well. Feel free if you feel like getting up, just don't mess the setup up because I don't want you. Knowing you, man, you get knocked offline, and then it's just going to take a year to get back. But I'll say this, man. Listen, I'm all for the idea. Listen. I love the water. Now I wish I could turn my camera, but I can't really do that. But I got fish all over. I like the deep sea fish, whether it's going, snapper fishing to even freshwater. I love being on the water. So I'm
gonna get up right now because I think this is my friend Mark Bryan from Hootie and the Blowfish.
Okay,
he just bought a nice boat. Let me see if I can turn this camera around.
Okay, so everybody's getting boats. How about this? Because we got to hit a timeout. So while you show us on the stream, we're going to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll dive into some of this football talk. He might actually dive into the water because he's literally on the water on a beautiful, beautiful yacht owned by Mr. Rice, who is very well known over in the Carolinas. Tell Mr. Rice now. I mean, listen, we can start. I know we cover Alabama, but I'm all for mention a little bit of Gamecock talk. We got an open title sponsor. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, maybe we could work something out with Mr. Rice. Great guy there. Great guy. Wow.
Yeah, well, he already
that's incredible.
He sponsors Giants for Christ, the ministry. You know what I'm saying? Wow.
Of course. I mean, I'm just saying we could do a little something. All right, we got to hit a timeout. We come back. We keep on rolling. We will be projecting those offensive starters. We will hear from Brandon Clear at 11:30 and Mr. Adam at 12 and Gray Robertson at 12:30. We're loaded. We're live from Hilton Head and the Lamprella Law Studios at the same time. Beautiful boat right there. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
with Taco Casa,
Now that's quite the craft. That, yeah. Oh my God.
Isn't that cool? That is the boats are coming in here. I don't want to give you, that's the boat that goes over the Fusky, the golf course. You got to take the boat to the golf course. This is RBC. This is the live look here at Hilton Head, the marina. This is my office here. It's not Lamparetta Studios, but it's my office for the next couple of days.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, that's totally fine.
But you can see here there's some big yachts out there. And you got them all around here. So, yeah, man, it's pretty cool. This is my office. I got the pipe. I got the table. Let me show you the little inside real quick.
Dang.
You get the doors right here. And this is where we have dinner at.
Wow. So where do they take this thing? I mean, I know they always they park it in Hilton Head for the RBC, but I mean, like, are we talking international waters? I mean,
oh yeah, they going over to after Sunday they head over to what they call Baker's. It's over in the Bahamas area, you can see here. But this is number 18. You come off there, you're on number 18. Let's go.
Oh yeah, that's no big deal.
We'll show the listeners we'll show them 18. I'm walking around the front of the boat.
Dang. Hey man, you might need to wear a life jacket, man. You don't like to swim, brother. Just saying, man. Be careful now. You don't like to swim now.
No, I ain't falling off this bro too high. You can see that's 18 right there. You come up 18. And then I'm at the front of the boat. And you can see here some other boats back there behind us.
Now, I mean, that with the outdoorsman that I am, can you drop some lines off the back of that thing?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, Lisa, she likes to fish. They pull a 40-something footer, and just for the fish. You can see how big this thing is.
Damn. Yeah, it must be nice, man. Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll keep the whole thing going with the Miller's Edge, man. We won our nice little Abbey Award. I don't know if that's going to be enough to buy a yacht, but who knows? I do know Mr. Rice is a very well-known lawyer. So listen, we're working with Adam. Maybe Adam will be the next Mr. Rice, and then have a yacht, and he pulls up down to Orange Beach or something one of these days, man.
Maybe. Hello. You better get a couple big cases.
Golly, that's nice. Yeah, let me put up this starting depth chart.
Let me get down here.
The Captain of Pain, man. Mike, that was great, man. That was great. That's a great one. The Captain of Pain. I like that. Wait, what is mine? Wait, hold on. But I need to come up with a nickname, though. I kind of like how you have the Pastor of Pain little deal, man. Like, what's mine? And it can't be no nonsense. Like, somebody used to call me the Deacon of Pain. I'm not no deacon. It is a joke, obviously, because of the Pastor of Pain. But
Deacon of Destruction.
Now Cam Newton gave me a nickname, but it's not. Yeah, it was because I guess when I used to rock the mustache, he said it looked like a sheriff. So
Deacon Sheriff.
Yeah, a deacon and a sheriff. So my nickname from him was Deacon Sheriff. So, but I don't know about that one, man. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Man, I'm pretty jealous here. I had no idea the Pastor Payne was jumping on. Now we're really loaded up. But of course, man, he's sitting in what do you call that? A bay, or what do you call that?
I'm just on the back porch now.
No, I'm saying like where they're parked at. Like what's the proper term? Right?
This is
like I go fishing, right? I don't. No. I'm saying like the
marina.
The body of the marina. There you go. Thank you. I was about to say. I'm normally fishing. I'm not on luxury yachts like you're sitting on right now. Very nice stuff though. All right, let's do this. We're going to get to this starting projected offense.
I don't have no national championship though, or SEC championship. So you got something over there?
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, and I got my hand printed in Denny Chimes. Now, I don't know how much it's worth because they give you a hard time just about going on the field for a spring game, but we'll cross that bridge at another time. Listen, I know you didn't attend A-Day, but I'm curious, though. Have you seen – I know you've been busy. You've been literally traveling the world on yachts and golf tournaments and concerts and whatever all else you're doing. Have you seen any of like the noise, anything we've been talking about? Have you heard anything about Alabama coming out of A-Day? There's a lot of clips online.
I heard more than watch, obviously. I heard all of it. I love the interview. I was listening to it while I was playing golf, actually, with Kalen and Bohr. That was an excellent interview. You ask him good questions without, putting them on the spot. And I thought it was very solid. But yeah, I think for me the biggest thing was Russell, because that's the biggest question mark of the spring. We can talk about all these other positions, and they're good, right? But everybody wants to know who's going to be the trigger man. But here's what I thought was very interesting was him telling you, even though how you was kind of hyping up Keelan Russell, and he kind of downplayed the fact that how, Austin was, he's had a great, if you'd seen him, he done, and you alluded to he did some good things, but
he made sure to mention him.
Yeah, but he's kind of doing what I was saying that Ryan Grubb should have done when he just, gift wrapped the offensive tackle job to the guy. Kalen said, you know what? Yeah, I know the guy balled out. He knows it, but I need to make sure I keep Austin Mack and tell him about good things he has done. I'm not going to allow this one performance that people actually had a chance to see, downgrade what Austin Mack has done. But I think you're right. When you ask him, what is he looking for to name a starter? I think he kind of did a great job of, avoiding some, like he answered everything except your question there. But like, dude, what is it? Is it, you talked about managing the team and, is it big play potential? Is it, leadership? He didn't really say. I kind of said all those things, obviously. But to me, the biggest thing was, I thought Austin Mack's going to be. I still think that. I still think he's going to be the starting quarterback just because he has a tad bit more experience, and it's not A-Day, where you can kind of just get there and just grip it and rip it. But Austin played in the playoffs, not national championship game, but the playoffs, and he was at least out there. And I think he can command the huddle. I think he has a little bit more of a voice that the players, the teammates are going to listen to, as a sound that they're familiar with. And then we talk about the sound, of your play caller. It means something. And I think he has that over Keelan Russell. Now, I think that it's going to be a short stint. I think he may start the season, but I think it's going to be hard to keep Russell off the field because of that big play potential. He can make all the throws. He can extend plays. He can move around. So for me, the other stuff didn't matter to me. I was really wanting to see what Russell did because I know you were very high on him. You kept saying, I'm trying to tell you. And it turns out that he showed up. He showed up and he showed out. And so that being said, I think that was a big thing for me. Now, I know they had a couple of practices after with A-Day, which I don't know if I ever heard of that before. But I think the main thing, you get out safe. Hopefully they didn't have any devastating injuries and that type of thing.
Well, funny you mentioned that. Noah Rodgers, the transfer wide receiver from North Carolina State, in fact, did tear his knee. Now, that I will say I was very proud of the interview. I was really happy with the questions, and I think a lot of people really appreciate it because, like you said, it was definitely probably a little bit different than what people are used to when they ask him. I asked him some very valid questions that fans wanted to hear, but made sure I did the right way. I not forgot. I knew I was against the time, and I didn't get to ask him about the update on Noah Rodgers, but luckily he was back on the station on Ryan's show, and Ryan asked him that, and he actually, in fact, I was surprised because, like you said, he definitely didn't hit all of my questions directly, but he actually gave a pretty, detailed update on Noah Rodgers, and it turns out that it was a pretty devastating lower extremity injury that's going to sideline him at least into the first probably half of the season. So that was unfortunate, and that was the biggest one coming out of it, which you always hate to hear, especially in the spring game. But it doesn't matter if it's a spring game, spring practice, or even just workouts. I mean, any given day, something can happen like that, and unfortunately, it did. But I'll say this, to your points about Austin Mack, if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, and I'm glad you mentioned that. Yeah, everything I've been describing about Keelan Russell, about, listen, he's going to make those wow plays. He's explosive. He can do that. He's fast. But he's going to have a couple throws here and there. I literally said that before A-Day, a week before A-Day, and that's exactly what everybody saw on A-Day. It was like 100%. However, if you asked me a couple weeks ago that, what you're describing would, if I felt that would be the case, like Austin Mack would probably have that slight edge and at least maybe get the initial nod, hence why he also got the initial nod at 8A. He started off with the ones during 8A. Now they both worked in with both groups, but he technically was the starter. I would have agreed with you. However, with some of the, I guess, the progress that we've seen out of Keelan over the course of this spring, I think he's way ahead than I even anticipated him being. And with that said, I think there's more of a chance than ever we even see him start off the season as a quarterback one going into that East Carolina game. Now, I'm not saying it's a set deal because, like you mentioned, Coach DeBoer did a good job of saying, listen, we're really pleased with where he's at. We're really impressed with what he did. However, you know, Austin's done some really good stuff this spring. Austin has so many throws that he's made that if we made a highlight reel, fans would be so impressed. Like, and I can vouch, Austin is playing really good football as well. It's just the winner of the day was Keelan Russell. There's no doubt about it. From the explosive plays, even to just the movement of the offense, right? Things flowed better when he was in command. And not to say the word command, he has every bit of it. You mentioned that voice, and surprisingly, for the younger guy, if you listen to his teammates when they are interviewed and they talk about him, they say, oh, man, it's like a video game when he's in there. They rave about him to the point where what you're describing is typical for an older player, and I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong. I just think this situation might be a little bit different with Keelan Russell because it even feels different to me because I'm like, man, he's ahead of the curve. The way the team responds to him, you can tell he's got the stamp of approval by his guys. I mean, it's a little bit different than some of the I guess expected dynamics of a quarterback battle. So it's really interesting, but by no means is it over. And I keep reiterating that, you know, it's not over. Keelan Russell has definitely covered a lot of ground, and I think it's really tough at this point to make that decision, but we'll have to see. We got to hit a timeout.
But to me, if you come out of spring as QB1, and they're not going to announce it, obviously, but
no,
in the meeting rooms, you know, with Ryan Grubb and the quarterback coach and the board, they're going to be, you know, they know who's the guy. Right. There's no doubt they know who the guy is right now. They're going to try to play it to the fan base, but they know who the guy is. And to me, you know, I think it's Austin Mack, and I think it's a short-lived position because I think you can't hold this guy back. And somebody in the chat even mentioned this when you talk about NIL era and the money that you're paying, how long he's going to be happy if he's not starting. So as a coach, you got to really now be a GM too, and how you manage your roster. That's extremely important.
Yeah, it is. We got to hit timeout. We come back. We'll keep the conversation going. We'll be joined by Brandon Clear on the phone lines right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Listen hourly for Tuscaloosa Thread local news updates powered by Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram.
Yeah, I would be dancing too if I was sitting smoking a pipe on the back of a luxury yacht.
Hey, that's called, you know, favor. TD Jake said years ago, favor ain't fair. I ain't got
is it, or is it called wealth?
Well, for me,
probably
it's
a little bit of both.
I have no wealth, you know, but I do have. I feel like
I got favor, but I ain't got no damn 40+ foot yacht.
I've been blessed with a lot of great friends, and you know, this is like a 2-week vacation for me that's really free. I go down to the Hootie thing. I don't know if you saw my shots from the balcony overlooking the Atlantic Ocean, and great golf and food and concert. You know, having a chance to meet Big Daddy Kane. You remember Big Daddy Kane?
No, I don't. Sorry, I just did something where my screen just got like absolutely magnified. Let's get out of that. I got bad eyes, but not that bad. Okay, there we go. I got bad eyes, but not that bad.
You know, Big Daddy Kane ain't no half stepping.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
But they were at the one of the Masters special ed, you know, from the old school rappers back in my day. But yeah, it was cool. It was really cool. Got a chance to see one of my best friends, Buddy, who was the Darius bodyguard for years and battling cancer. Yeah, battling cancer, and it was really hard.
I thought he overcome. I thought he had overcome it.
No, it came back and spread. So, but he wanted to come, and his wife said she, you know, and brought him out there, and it was like people going nuts. But Buddy is a workout warrior, always, you know, not to see him somehow weak and feeble. having to be in a wheelchair and things like that. So it was tough, but
he's in a wheelchair, man. Dang, that dude! You talk about being rocked up, man. That dude's probably in the best shape I've ever seen, especially at like 50.
Yeah, he's about 65 now, I think. But we're praying for a miracle, and that's we'll believe till it's something else. So,
dang, yeah, Buddy's a good dude, man. Real good dude. Always in great shape, man. He had to be. Was he taking? Was he on steroids?
No.
Nah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Ain't no way. I ain't never seen no.
Buddy would eat
I don't care how much protein you eat, man. I ain't never seen no 50-year-old man built like. Well, I guess Sean Benjamin's kind of like the
Buddy would like if he was out here right now. Listen to the show between sets. He's knocking 25 push-ups.
I like it. I do. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's go on the phone lines and visit with our first guest of the day. We got Mr. Brandon Clear himself, man. I don't know if you guys keep up with these terms, man. I see this on social media. I think I might have mogged him a little bit too much last week. He came on the stream, man. Now he had to call in. He didn't want to pop up and show face. I think he got intimidated. Now the Pastor Payne's on here too. So I'm kidding. He had some work stuff. I'm being funny. He told me ahead of time. I'm just being silly. Brandon, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? Hey, Pastor, let me hold something, man. I heard you on a yacht.
What you want, a Canada Dry or water? What you need?
Hey, man, and whatever you can bless me with, man. You are anointed. I need something, man. Let me hold something. I got two kids.
You know what I mean? I'm at to spit in my hands and put it in your hands and say, Lord, give us a favor of dollars. You know, like Jesus spit in his hand in the mud and put mud on the man's eye. He was able to see. You know what I mean?
You pick the worst references possible when you get on the show.
I lay hands in his hand, so he said let him hold.
Yeah, man, I'm spitting on hands and exchanging hands. I mean, bro, could you not? You couldn't turn. How about turn water into wine? How about the story about turning water into wine is just a little
That's
bit.
What all you drunk
cleaner for radio.
It's all right to drink, dog. Jesus turned water into wine, and he gave them the best wine. They were drinking booze for him until he got there, and Jesus gave them the top shelf.
Oh man, got to. He's a trip, Brandon. He's a trip. Hey, Brandon, let's man, let's talk about A-Day, man. I don't think it's Thursday. We haven't had a chance to touch base since A-Day. Now I know you mentioned you got some stuff going on, so you couldn't quite make it. But I know you're in the loop, man. You keep up with all the intel and all the content that's being pushed out there, man. Tell me, what'd you walk away with after hearing all the things, especially Keelan Russell, the defense looking pretty good, running game still work in progress. What are your overall takeaways?
So first off, I would have to say, Keelan Russell really showed up. And, judging quarterbacks during the spring, man, it's always tricky because, they're not getting hit. So, they'll look like, that's like underwear Olympics to me anytime you're judging a quarterback during the spring, just because the blitzes and everything, they do come, but they're not touching them. So they'll get throws off that they wouldn't typically get during a game. So, I take a measured, optimistic approach on. I think Keelan had a great spring. I heard, Mac was hurt. And, I think a little bit of them saying that is because they want to make sure that Austin Mack isn't losing focus and feeling down on himself just because Keelan was shining during the spring. So I do believe there was an injury, but, injured enough to where all of a sudden, you're not necessarily throwing picks. I think that's probably a mixed bag. So, I'll leave that there. But the running backs, I was hoping to see more from the running game. And, I think that the offensive line is where I said I was spending most of my time. I saw some promising things. I also feel as though they got to be able to figure out. I think once Sanders gets back in at left guard, I really want to see exactly what that offensive line will look like fully established, because there were still some things I was seeing that was very reminiscent to last year. Guys not, finishing blocks, running backs still seeming a little tentative. I think that Trayshawn Brown kid is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those people, he gets in open space, man. It's you're in a blender. And so, Josh Jacobs had similar traits. Under the radar, and, they really want, Xavier Correll to be the next guy up. But, when opportunities are presented and God just continues to make plays, with ones and then twos and threes, you just keep moving up the ranks. the coach is going to have to take a hard look. And so, the blocking from the running backs, that's, I think that's a work in progress too. But, Stephen Boomwa for defensive side, man, Stephen Boomwa, that's the dude. If he can get his conditioning up, he might be somebody that can make a permanent impact just because, again, his athleticism is crazy. So once he figures the game out and he can really be consistent, and, he's got a motor that I think that could run a little bit, hotter at times because, once he gets tired, he's carrying around all that muscle, gets a little stagnant. So, I saw promising things, man. I saw the receivers making plays, so that was encouraging. And that offensive line and running game, I just got to see things progress. So, Christian, as you get over there, I know you're going to be seeing some, fall practice. I'm hoping you get a good report back to us to let us know how that's going.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think it all depends on kind of what you were expecting going into it. And you have a great point, even like with the quarterbacks. That's why it's like as impressive as it was for Keelan Russell. And I'm not taking anything away from it because I even said, like, to your point, like a number of those throws would have been sacks. We know that. But the fact was, going off of what we were seeing and the rules being he couldn't be touched, he still had to deliver the throws. And typically the DBs, they don't just stop. And now if someone blows a whistle, which they weren't. The whistle wasn't blown on those plays. If the whistle was blown and, like, the DB stopped reacting, that's one thing. But everybody was still going with the play. So I still was like, hey, I'm going to give him credit for what he just did, even though in the game it probably could have been or would have been a strip sack, and we know that could have definitely had a big impact. So I do think that's something.
Well, anytime you're in a scrimmage like this where the quarterback got the colored jersey on or just knowing that he can't be touched, it's going to give him a lot of comfortability to throw and deliver a strike down the field.
True.
Know when there's live bullets, your mind, your clock, everything is sped up, right? So, and you got to be able to make decisions quickly, right? And that's not going to happen during the scrimmage. I mean, they run outside the pocket. The guy kept trying to touch him and tag, but he delivered a 40-yard bomb. Those are good, but let's just be realistic. They're not realistic. I mean, you know what I mean? So they're going to get hit. Even if they throw the ball, they're going to get ear hole. They're going to get hit. And the next time that situation arises, guess what? That quarterback's going to be thinking about that hit. So but you have to kind of take it with a grain of salt, right? You got to just say, hey, the kid did well, but, the circumstances were set up for offenses to do well in scrimmages. So long as you go in knowing that, I mean, listen, you already said that he's got big play potential. We believe that. We've seen signs of that, but that ain't gonna really matter until, I hate to use this term again, till the real bullets fly, right? You mean if you can do that in a game and playing, Georgia, South Carolina, or whoever, and you striking the ball down the field like that, that's a lot different than a day.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I also will say that the guy he's competing against, Austin Mack, was also under those same circumstances. So that's what I'm saying. You just have to know what Brandon's saying and what you're saying, but at the same time, they both have the same circumstances here, whereas not live for the quarterback. So you still can acknowledge one guy had a better day than the other. I'll at least will say that. Brandon, you mentioned the running game, and I think one of the biggest things that stood out, because I will say that there were some moments they had some solid runs. I know there's some clips that have been posted. Shout out to Dwight. He's got some recorded. We took a look at some of those. Problem is that consistency is still not there. Then some of those critical moments, man, it really showed up. They're doing like some, goal line situational stuff. And I want to say, I don't know if they even punched one in, on the ground when they were in those goal line situations, which was definitely a little bit concerning. Defense did a nice job. Got to give them credit. But, I mean, what are your thoughts on this running game? We had Coach DeBoer on the show, and I asked him, for you, what would be considered a success? And I even got to ask him straight up. I'm like, I told him I didn't know what the identity quite was last year. And he even acknowledged, they're going to take a look at maybe limiting some things. That way they can find something to really hang their hat on. Are you confident that running game can get to where it needs to be this upcoming season?
I think they are, man. To me, it's a mentality thing. Like, again, it's hard to judge what's in the character of a person until you talk to them and see how they operate. But, I got to see some meanness, man. And, I think Mike Carroll has that. But, I want to see some dudes, man, like you see some hand on the ground, you stepping on it. I don't care if it's a teammate or not. I want to see some dudes pulling around the corner, man, and the whistle's blown dead, and he's driving the dude all the way to the sideline. It's just, I think you almost have to make them mean. And I don't know, look, meanness is a mentality. I'm one of the nicest dudes, man, but when I got in that zone and I was locked in, there was nothing anybody could tell me that I couldn't do, right? And so the receiver mentality is different. But being a defender and being an offensive lineman, bro, like Landon Collins is the quintessential. Hey, when that pile is a little bit low, man, hey, watch your ACL. Something might be happening as I'm coming over. I might just trip.
Oh,
hey, left guard, you pulling? Hey, high low. We might get a penalty, but he gonna know. Hey, we're liable to go ahead and take you out, and you may not be playing this full game. So it's just, I hope Clem is able to instill that. Not to play too dirty. We're not talking about the Saints level, but hey, somebody might get a broken arm. Somebody might get a torn ACL playing with us, and we might get a 15-yard penalty. And I'm willing to take that because it's a mentality. So I'm hoping that they allow Clem to just say, hey, this first play of the game, this might be a 15-yard penalty, but they gonna know that it's gonna be a long day. Right, so I would purge. I was like, who's getting the penalty today? Somebody on the line getting the penalty today. So that's the mentality. I want to feel it when I'm watching the film, man. I'm like, these dudes playing patty cake a little bit. They're there. They're making the right decisions. It's finesse. But if you're gonna be doing a pool game, bro, watch Indiana when they were doing that. They were mean, bro, and they not the biggest dudes. But when they came off the line and they were moving in sync. You just like, it didn't matter who was coming. It didn't matter if you knew if it was a draw. It didn't matter if it was a counter. None of this stuff. We were going to run the ball, and this is our scheme, and try to stop it. And nobody could. So,
Brandon,
yeah.
First of all, a couple points. You can't teach nobody to be mean. you can't teach nobody. Hey, dude, let me tell you right here. I need you to go out here and dive at an ACL or, hit him in the gonads or whatever it is. If he's holding you, get them hands off.
I don't know we need to go that far.
No. But my point is, you can't teach nobody to be mean. You either got that or you don't. You either got toughness or you don't. You either got physicality or you don't. That is a heart posture, right? I mean, I love what you said because I've said this numerous times that I could be a nice guy, quiet guy off the field, right? I'd shake hands, kiss babies, whatever, right? I get all that. But when the lights came on, it created a monster in me. I knew I had to perform. I knew I had to take this thing to a whole nother level. I understood I'm trying to get to the league. I understood that, I got to buy Pampers and milk. I understood that family going to need help. So those things caused me to do whatever I had to do to succeed. But you got to just have that. You can't teach that. I mean, you can get up and make a guy run stadiums and do all that. Is not building toughness. What you're talking about. That's why I said you got to get black and mild dudes that's already in them, right? You just got to get them to tone it down when they're not playing, right? You got to go find a handful of dudes that are fighters, right? That they might fight their own teammates. They'll fight in the locker room. You might have to go find some dudes that. That's the problem with Bama. They haven't had that. They got guys that want to help people up all the time. You know what I mean? Hey, you thirsty? I'll go over and get you a cup of Gatorade. I don't want you to parch over here. You know what I mean? So it's like they got guys on the team that they got a bunch of.
Well, hold on. Let me interject real quick. I will say now during A-Day, I don't think it was all that right in terms of the running game not being where it could have or should have been because
running game's a problem.
No, it is a problem. I didn't say it wasn't a problem. I've been saying it's a problem. I said what y'all are I can't speak. Explaining and expressing right here. I saw Racing Delgatti, the center, right? He played with nastiness. I saw him do it in the scrimmage. I saw him do it at A-Day. He has that type of mentality. So I like that. I'll check that box. Michael Carroll, that's two. He plays with that.
Absolutely.
Now, you need a few more guys that are – so what I'm getting at is there's a few guys that do it. Like Jackson Lloyd, I don't know if he has that same type of grit and intensity as the two guys I just mentioned, but he's a really good athlete. And from a technique standpoint, I think he's a really good player. So I think they have potential on the offensive line to get better. I don't know what the ceiling is for the room personally for this upcoming season. I just don't. But I do know they should be much better. I don't know, much better strong. They will be better by the time the season comes. I will say that. But you're right. Definitely think the mentality piece, it is hard to teach. But sometimes you can get it a little bit more out of a guy. You can't necessarily make him that. You get a little more out of it.
You asked Kalen DeBoer in the interview on Monday about the run game specifically. And
I went into every detail.
I was so disappointed in his answers.
Why? He covered everything.
But it was kind of like, let me make a right here and then a left and maybe a U-turn back. I mean, listen, toughness. Brandon just talked about it, and I'm really surprised, Brandon. You know, did you play for Dabo, Brandon?
I did.
You know, I'm surprised. You know, because Dabo be having anointing oil up there and communion crackers for the pregame, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know
Dabo's real nice, man, but don't get it twisted. It's foot and butt, man. That's what. Look, he leads by it, man. Like you have seen him on the sideline shoot people out. That's real. He'll love you up, but if you ain't,
hallelujah, praise the Lord, somebody, amen, anywhere, somebody. And then I see them lip service over there be dropping F-bomb like parachutes coming out the sky.
Wait, who you talking about? That? Wait, Dabo?
What?
Yeah, you talking about Coach Sweetie, bro.
Man,
I
saw the whole. I saw the side of him from recruiting, so I didn't see all that. I saw the like he's mentioned.
No, he's a solid dude, man. But when it's game time, like I'll tell y'all a quick story, man. I was running a hitch route, and it was first play of my career. I run a hitch route, ball bounces off my face mask. He pulled me over the sideline, and said, "You think I'm gonna bet my family's paycheck on you? Are you gonna get crushed?" He took that. I was like, "Oh, bro." Hey, man, I was like, "Dang, man, he was loving me up. Hey, man, you gonna get in there, you gonna kill it." Boy, as soon as that ball went off my face, man, Coach Lee said, "Hey, man, all love, but you gonna feel this. This is not tolerating any of this, man." So, you said, you get in line, or all of a sudden you get consumed. But we do need some scumbags. I'm hoping we got some that are hidden over there that just haven't been uncovered. But that O-line, like you said, it's mentality. I think Caitlin DeBoer on the show said it was mentality, bro. So I agree with the pass on that one, man. Like, you can't coach that. But, hey, Richie Incognito is a prime example of someone. You might need somebody bullying some of these people, man. Respectful. Somebody need to get bullied, bro. I don't condone bullying. Somebody needs to get bullied a little bit.
Take away that ice cream truck. See, the Alabama, they mess up. You want the swirl, vanilla, chocolate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get no ice cream.
Brandon, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you as always,
man. I appreciate y'all. Next time I'll be on the screen so Pastor can see how somebody's dressed, man, when they trying to stunt. I'm just saying.
There you go.
All love to the Phillies.
Just wait. But don't come on here with that Clemson shirt if you think that's going to impress them. I don't know how that's going to go.
I'll be suited the booty, man.
I'll be suited the booty. I'm suited the booty with this nice polo.
I can't shake his hand, man, because he's sitting in his hand. So, it's going to be a fist bump. All love, hugs, man. But I'll leave a handshake to both y'all two, man. I'll dap you up, Christian, man. You don't seem like you're me.
I brought me a brand new cowboy hat this weekend, too.
Okay.
I got a cowboy hat. I should have wore that today.
I don't know where we're going.
Suited and booted, buddy.
There you go.
Suited and booted.
Brandon, we appreciate you, man. Take care, brother. All right.
Take care. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Good deal. We got to hit a timeout.
We
come back.
A Clemson guy talking about Roll Tide.
He's from Birmingham. I'll explain it in a second when we come back on the Miller's Edge. Top 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging?
So Brandon couldn't get in Alabama.
I mean, there's a difference between getting in and maybe I don't know if he had an offer. If that's what you're asking, I mean, I'm not sure getting in. I mean, he went to Hoover. I feel like Hoover's a good school. Seems like Brandon seems very, very smart, right? He's an intelligent guy. I think he got in school, but
that was a joke. That's a Clemson joke.
Oh, okay. What was I about to say? Oh, wait, we got Hunter on here. I forgot. Reed, I don't know if we're gonna have time to. Could you tell Hunter? Because we got Adam at 12. You could tell Hunter we could try to squeeze him in at like 12:15 or something like that, or maybe the first segment with
Adam. Call with Adam on here.
Yeah, we will. Just tell him we can get to him maybe in 10 minutes once we welcome Adam on and stuff like that. Yeah, because Hunter's got some good questions. It'll be good. It'll give us something to talk about. Just ask him if you don't mind waiting like 10 minutes because we got another guest. Who was I about to say? I'm going to play this clip at some point. I know Ty was on with Caleb Downs. He kind of left us hanging, all good, but he was on with Caleb Downs, and he was asked about the difference between Coach Saban and Kalen DeBoer. And then he also mentioned something interesting about the Indiana game. He was saying he knew exactly what they were going to do. They did everything that he had prepped for, but the execution was flawless, and they just couldn't figure it out. I'm trying to find where he talked about it. I'm clicking through here.
I mean, just make yourself look more dumb. Oh, we knew what they're gonna do, but then you got your head bashed.
No, he was saying the execution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look.
It wasn't much execution. It was about mano a mano, getting drugged. That's what it was about. It was about want to and will and physicality. That's what happened to them.
Hold on. I'm trying to find this part. Hold on. Was it earlier on in here? I'm trying to find the part where he mentioned Indiana.
Rolled and came to practice. I make any type of run. Walking. Oh, so very
Must have been earlier.
People who I've met along the way. Like right now is my favorite part. Because I mean, with different teams, guys, to make sure if they do draft me, Drake. Him when I get yeah, and then it was cool recently.
What was this other guy?
How you doing?
Caleb Downs, safety, transferred to Ohio State. Then that's his brother. I think his brother he plays in the NFL, but I don't know if it's with the Colts. I think maybe.
Right, like the quarterback.
Yeah, I was there. What's been the?
You got the best of both worlds freshman year, and every day good on good. Prepared, good for me, man. Transferring with seeing how being able to be.
Definitely, get what you're saying to me. Like the offense, dude, bro. If we were at Bama and we ended the practice,
that's how it is.
There was a couple of days where
that day it looks bad.
To put it in perspective, at Bama, right? Left. I mean,
first day of spring ball. What are we doing? We lost to both teams that were in the Natty. So
here it is. I think. All right, hold on. We're coming back real quick. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We just got done talking with Brandon Clear. Big shout out to him joining us every Thursday. And now we're, let's see. I guess we only got a couple minutes right here, if that, because we're going to hit this top hour break in a second. Then we'll be joined by Mr. Adam Lamparello. We're going to continue talking about this Alabama football team as spring just concluded today. Today was the last practice. We are going to get to the projected offensive starters. I got a nice graphic that I made. I'm going to throw up on the screen. I want to get y'all's thoughts because I felt pretty good about it outside of maybe 3 or so positions. So that's the toughest thing for me, I think, got wide receiver spot. Of course, the quarterback battle. Then even maybe 4 positions, one on the offensive line and then the running back. I think that's kind of tough. But that said, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and hit our top of the hour break. And when we come back, we'll be joined by Mr. Lamparello. We'll go back to the phone lines at some point because I know we got Hunter and others lined up. We got Gray Robertson at 12:30. We'll be talking some baseball, softball action. All of that coming up right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 12:30. WTBC, quick timeout. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W2C.
All right, we got our guy Adam on here. Let's see. Let's get Adam on the stage. There he is. Mr. Lamparello, how we doing, sir?
Hey, Christian. Hey, Corey. I am right now in New Jersey, only 2 miles from the Meadowlands, and I'm remembering the interception you had against the Redskins on the first play of the game, but then Keith Hamilton ruined it so he didn't score a touchdown. But it was a great interception.
There you go. Way to ruin his moment. He's sitting there on the yacht. He's got too much positivity over there, Adam. Throw some negativity his way. He needs
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we got to humble him.
But the interception still counted. It still counted. Gave the offense a short field to get a TD. A tub. That would have been my tub had it not been for Hammer Time.
And Dave Meggett, I think, scored.
Here's this part real quick. Him talking about Indiana.
I thought they were going to win that game. So I thought they were going to win that game against Miami.
Facts.
I didn't know how it was going to go against y'all.
I didn't see that, bro. I I was like,
I
man,
thought,
Bama
I
might
thought they
win
might
this.
have won against Bama, but I didn't think it was good.
Bro, so from my point of view, right, like I'm sure it's different from Caleb's because he was on the defensive side, but I was like, they don't do much. Like I was like, they do the same thing for every down. And so when I got the ball, I knew exactly what was going to happen. And they just didn't mess up, bro. Like they were in the exact same spot they were supposed to be, and they were so well coached. It was so much different than the SEC. Like, you know,
I'm not trying to be funny, but a very similar response. It almost sounds kind of like what Nakai Hill-Green was saying, just on the offensive side. And listen, I talked to people in the building ahead of that game, and I'm just going to be straight up with you. A lot of people in the building, I feel like let me just let them finish real quick.
You got, you know, they'll play man. They'll do these unorthodox coverages, you know, because it's just like it's kind of how it is. But like that game was crazy to me. Of course, I got hurt, so it was that was a bummer. But I knew what they were going to do, and you know, we couldn't really run the ball. We didn't really, you know, throw. It just was it was so crazy to me how it happened.
Yeah.
He caught himself right there. He's about to say we didn't really throw the ball, and he was like, "Oh crap!" Well, that would basically mean that was part of my problem.
What's called? You just
But you know what I was going to say was, if I'm just being honest with you, man, you take the answer from Nakai Hill-Green, and then you take what he just said. I hate to say it, but I mean it's evident that a lot of people in that building, players and probably coaches, they don't just come from the players. They sit in meetings together. Sounds like everybody just looked at it as, oh well, they're not an SEC team. You heard what he just said. The SEC teams run complicated coverages, right? They run a lot more simplified things in their coverages. I knew what we were going to get, but man, the execution, they were so well coached. It's like, I'm just trying to figure out what was being told to them in that building. I sat here and was saying on this show before we played, everybody made it seem like, oh, you're gassing them up. And I'm not gassing them up, man. Just watch the freaking tape. Like the tape shows you they don't make many mistakes. They're physical. I'm like, I don't understand. Like these were every time somebody comes out. These
are cop outs.
I wouldn't say it's a cop out. I don't think it's a cop out. I think it's they went into that game underestimating their opponent. That's what I'm hearing. I heard it from
what I'm hearing is you got your tail kicked. You got your Humpty Dumpty kicked all over the football field for 60 minutes. Don't tell me how basic they were. Oh, and they did, dude. They didn't mess up, dude. You got your A kicked. That's what happened. They were tougher than you. They should have got your scholarship, is what I'm hearing. Because I don't want to hear somebody go here after the fact and be saying, "Oh man."
I mean, he was asked a question. He was asked a question.
I don't care. I will answer it different. I will be still saying, "Listen, man, whatever." I wouldn't be saying I'm praising these dudes. Like, dude, they're coming from the small school in Virginia, John Miller, James Madison.
JMU.
Now, these guys, come on, guys, stop all this food. This is the problem with no answers would have been like this before. This is all mentality to me. This is all heart posture to me. They are tripping. Like now you're gonna go on these little podcasts and little buddy. Oh man, but this is the mindset of the kids right now, Adam Lamparello. This is what's happening. They don't have mental toughness. They don't have physical toughness. They're about getting their money. They're about their fits. They're about, all booted up, suited up, as we just talked about. They're about their
I didn't take all that away from this, other than they probably overlooked the opponent.
NIL,
that's what I'm
taking away. I want players to get paid money. NIL has ruined college football.
Hold on, let me bring us back. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We've got the man of the hour, Mr. Adam Lamparello, joining us via the stream, our official legal representation here on the show. And, of course, football extraordinaire, too. Adam, welcome in.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
Always.
How you guys doing?
Man, can't complain. Adam, can't complain. We got a number of things we'll dive into. I know we got A-Day that's taking place. We got to circle back and get your thoughts on all that. Plus, I feel like there's definitely some stuff to dive into in terms of the latest. I've seen some reports. I don't know if you guys have seen some of this stuff. I know Greg Burns come out and I think he was talking at a panel and he's made some interesting comments regarding NIL and just kind of the current state of the NCAA. And it was very, very interesting. So I want to ask some some questions on that, but we'll definitely get to that here in a second. But first, Adam, if you don't mind, I do want to go to the phone lines because we do have a call. He's been waiting for quite some time. And I know you always have good insight, and I know Hunter's got a good question or two. So let's do that. 205-342-9904 is the number. We got Hunter up next. Hunter, welcome in.
What's up, man?
What's going on, Hunter?
Not much. Appreciate y'all. Let's see.
Dang, did you forget your question? Come on, man. You've been waiting all this time. You forgot what you wanted to ask?
No, you don't hype Hunter up here.
Because yesterday we had a good debate. I think the other day he had a good one too. I think he must have just been caught off guard. He was like, "Oh man, they actually came to me." He was waiting for a minute. So fair enough. Hunter, go ahead. We're gonna run it back. Go ahead.
Okay. So guys, it's a fault for everybody, right? So what's the biggest issue right now? Like nobody in the fan base wants to admit right now.
You're talking about Alabama?
With Bama. Let's not even bring up the O-line because everybody's gonna bring up the O-line, right? So besides the O-line, what's the biggest issue that the fan base won't admit?
I mean, I would say. I mean, we just listened to that snippet of Ty Simpson talking to Caleb Downs, and for our radio listeners, you didn't hear it, but basically he talked about the Indiana game, and he just mentioned, I knew everything they're going to do going into it. I knew all the coverages. I mean, I knew them like the back of my hand. But when it got time to playing these guys, their execution was flawless, and being in the SEC, you're used to seeing these complex coverages. They're not even doing any of that, but their execution is so perfect that it caught us by surprise. And I just can't help but this is just my opinion, but after hearing that response, then also remember a couple months ago when Nikhai Hill-Green was talking to those guys at the Bama Standard, basically said, hey, we looked at them as a Big Ten team and we didn't really respect them. I'm not saying Ty's answer sounded like he didn't respect them, but it sounded like they were selling them short, almost as if like, hey, watch them on TV. We're not really that impressed. And to me, that just sounds like, and I'll be honest, just talking to people in the building, I think going into that Indiana game, they overlooked that football team, which clearly was the wrong idea.
Well,
so, I mean, if you're saying a hidden thing that nobody, I would just say, to me, those games like Indiana and some of the ones that we didn't show up, I put a lot of that on, lack of getting our guys prepared. And I'm not just saying from a schematic standpoint, but also having the right mentality going into these football games. You can't have it has to be consistent. It shouldn't matter if you're playing East Carolina or you're playing Georgia in the SEC championship game. Every single game has to be approached the same way. And I'm not saying they don't, but from the outside looking in, it just kind of feels like that, or just going off some of the answers that some of these players have given, which, again, we had Coach DeBoer on the show Monday, and it sounds like, they're really trying to pay attention to every little detail. He talked about them being in the meeting room in the morning before he came on the show and really addressing, what they saw during the 8A game and really going back and cleaning things up and really tightening up those small little factors. So hopefully they're working on that. But I would say over the last 2 years, that to me has just been evident. And that's just me being completely transparent, because the Vanderbilt game, Vanderbilt was not a better football team than us. But that day they were, because they had the better mentality. They were more physical. We had no answer to stop what they were doing. They run a form of option on offense, right? With Pavia, and I get it, it's tough to defend, but defensively we were not prepared correctly for that football game. We could not get off the field on third down, and that was why we lost the game. They also dominated the time of possession, which was a direct reflection of not getting off the field. Same thing with Indiana. We're hearing that, like, schematically, man, we got outplayed, right? We got outcoached. Even the Georgia game, I get Georgia was a much different football team, during the SEC championship than that Week 4 team that we played. There's no doubt about it. That Georgia team got much better. The offensive line, the defense, it was a totally different football team. But even just from a schematic standpoint and just our guys is not really showing up. I know we had injuries, but that's one thing that I think needs to be cleaned up. But that's just me being transparent. I mean, I hate to put that out there like that, but it's just when you look at some of the games that we've lost, that to me comes to mind. It's not that those other teams were much better football teams than us. It seemed like we didn't have the proper mentality or preparation to go out there and execute and be successful. So that would be my answer. Adam, you want to add anything? Or?
Yeah, I think it's three things. Number one, mindset. Number two, physicality. Number three, consistency. When Ty Simpson, who I have the utmost respect for, says that they knew what Indiana was doing and they still got beat like that, that is shocking. It tells me that they just hate to say, got their asses kicked. And for that to happen to an Alabama football team, to me, is something that is really alarming. And if I could just make a quick point of reference, and going back 10 years, let's go back 10 years, and let's look at Alabama's defense. You, of course, Jonathan Allen, Reuben Foster, Daron Payne, Rashaan Evans, Sean Deion Hamilton, Minka Fitzpatrick, Anthony Jennings, Levi Wallace, Marlon Humphrey. Stars all over the field, but most importantly, they were physical players who played like they were pissed off. And that's the kind of toughness and grit that you need to be successful in football and in life. I mean, I remember a game that you played, I think it was in Oxford against Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. I think you sacked the quarterback like 3 times or something. And I remember there was one play when I was watching that game where you basically went straight at the offensive lineman, ran right through him, broke to your right, and nailed the quarterback. And it was just like you could tell the physicality that you played with. That's what I think is missing, and hopefully it will improve. But what Corey said about NIL, I think, is really relevant, because the problem with NIL is it puts the prize before the process. You know, you're giving people millions of dollars, but have they earned it? No. There's something to be said in football and in life about busting your ass and going through hell to get what you're going for. I think that that's a contributing factor to what we see is a problem, not just with Alabama, but with a lot of teams.
Wow. Very well said. Yeah. Hunter, I mean, I feel like those some good answers, man. Adam definitely took the Adam takes the award right there.
You don't see the physicality. You don't see the physicality anymore. You don't see like punch in the mouth, like you don't see it.
I will say this, that I feel like there are times that I have seen. I want to give just some of those guys credit, right? Or certain players that definitely display, like Red Morgan, man. Red Morgan plays with that type of mentality, right? I feel like I see that from him consistently, but that's the biggest word, consistency. You know, I've seen our defense has moments where they are flying to the football, right? Justin Hill, he's a dog. He's physical, right? Yanze has his moment. Like, I think they have some dudes that can do it, some guys that can set the tone, but you need more people doing it, and you need to be doing it at a consistent rate. That to me is probably one of the biggest challenges for them as they approach this next football season, because listen, they've done some really good stuff. I want to be clear. Like we've taken a lot of time to definitely be very honest here with your question, but also want to point to some things that they have a lot of positives too that they can build off, and they do a lot of really good stuff as well. They just have to clean up the stuff that we're talking about to really make the difference from, you know, being good to being great, right? I mean, they're not too far off. I mean, they made it to the SEC championship game last year. That's no easy feat, especially if you look at who we had to play to get there. All right, you got some really good football teams in this conference, some physical football teams. We only lost 2 regular season games. That was to Florida State and to Oklahoma in a really close one, right? So I want to be clear. I mean, it does sound like the sky's falling when you do kind of open these wounds and you're very honest about this stuff. But that's not to say you're that far off and it can't be fixed. I just think it has to, you know, it takes a lot of attention to detail in those small little details.
They went 10-2. You said they went 10-2
in the regular season. They went 10-2 They only lost one conference game, and that was in a close game.
What was their final record? Their
final record was what would it have been, like 11-4, because they picked up another win against Oklahoma and lost 2 to Georgia in Oklahoma. But what I'm saying, but listen, look at us in the conference though, against these good football teams that are also physical football teams, going on the road, beating Georgia, a physical football team with an outstanding reputation.
Georgia wasn't
home.
Georgia.
It was early. I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying. So listen, I'm not denying. Listen, I agree with everything we're talking about. I'm just trying to flip it and say there are a lot of positives too.
Say Alabama got worse. They didn't get better. Teams normally get better, right? You want to hit the championship, the playoffs with momentum, your trajectory upwards. They got worse. All right. And so my whole point is I hear what you're saying, and you know, you can see these pretty blue skies down here at Harvard Town, you know, but really in Alabama there's a thunderstorm. There's dark clouds and it's raining, right? And
that's way far fetched. That's way far. You're saying that about a team that just played in the SEC championship game last year. That sounds silly. That sounds silly though.
They got in there by default.
What do you mean by default? They got in by beating.
Because Texas A&M lost is the only reason they made it to the SEC. So that was.
But you realize that we lost by 2 points after playing a bad game at home against Oklahoma. right? That was really what knocked us out. If that never happened, right, regardless, we would have been in it.
Yeah.
That was the only loss we had, right? So,
I hear what you had the head-to-head.
Go ahead.
I mean, Bama had the head-to-head over Georgia, so realistically, Bama was first in the SEC going into the SEC title.
All I'm saying is it really is about perspective. You're right, Hunter, but what I'm getting at is about perspective. There's no way you're telling me I'm sunshine pumping right now, because I literally just was brutally honest with what's going on. I'm not. He's pointing to the sky, Hunter. No, I'm not. I'm not doing that at all. What I'm doing is I'm being a realist by saying, listen, it's the glass half full, glass half empty. If you look at it from glass half full, you'll say Alabama in year 2, or Kalen DeBoer in year 2, made it to the SEC championship game and made the playoffs and won a playoff game. Georgia has not won a playoff game in several years. That, you have to respect that. That's the truth. That's a fact. That does not mean Alabama is a finished product. That does not mean that they don't have any of the issues that we've talked about. Two things can be true, but I just think your perspective right now is glass half empty by saying, "Oh, gray cloud." How are you saying a team has, or a school has gray clouds that just played in the SEC championship and in the playoffs and won a game on the? No, I'm saying, how is that gray clouds? So does Georgia? So no. Let me ask you a question. So does Georgia have gray clouds, even though they won back-to-back SEC championships, but they also have not won a playoff game in several years? So they have gray clouds. What about Oregon? What about no? What about Oregon? Does Oregon have gray clouds?
Yes.
So this way, you would say every school in the country has gray clouds except two.
I'm saying
who does not have gray clouds?
Indiana didn't have them last year.
No, I'm talking about right. No, right now, because you're not even high on Indiana going in this year. So who right now is this perfect program?
I don't know, because it's too early. You can't say nobody now. But let's just deal with the elephant in the room. Alabama has. I go by history, right? If Adam was prosecuting or defending the case, he gonna go back, because that's what lawyers do. You know, they go back and they start pulling up cases, right? And they'll be saying, this is so-and-so versus Wade back in 1976, and this happened. Am I right, Adam? They go back and they look at history, because history helped their point. It helped them build their case. Well, I'm looking at history. My case is this. The history of Kalen DeBoer at Alabama has been, to me, a case of a lot of failure. Yeah, you can tell me about they did this. Yes. Losing to Vanderbilt, getting drugged by Oklahoma, getting dominating the run game, lack of physicality, a man
you're pointing out beer, every negative, you're skipping over every positive. I'm
just saying
you're skipping every positive.
They got dominated in the
play. You're looking at it from one lens. That's one. So I'm saying, like, how? But this is your problem. What I'm doing, you're saying, is sunshine problem, because I'm looking at both. I'm looking at the whole picture. I'm not doing what you're doing by saying, okay, I'm only going to pick out the negatives. Like, that's crazy to say. Like, come on, man. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's your mentality is
everybody,
skewed,
most people in the chat, most people that call in is, we're not physical. We got. They're complaining.
Two things. So I'm not disagreeing with those points, though. That's what you're missing. I've already agreed with you. Those are the things that need to get better. Like, two things can be true,
Adam,
but for you to say,
Adam, and let you Adam, so you can have his moment, because this conversation
I will
absolutely ludicrous.
Let Hunter respond. Hunter, you can respond.
I will say this, though. I mean, you can't lie. Bama going all the way to an SEC title, winning a playoff game, and going to the Rose Bowl with absolutely no run game. It's pretty impressive. Can we agree on that?
Since I'm at the golf course, let's give you a slow clap, Hunter. You know what I mean? Here you go. Oh, we did this.
Hunter, listen. I'm on the same page with you.
Drugs. We went to the SEC championship 2.5 hours down the road.
In South Carolina, went to Cancun or Hilton Head, where you're at, because they didn't play in any postseason.
Poor Indiana, about a coach that wears.
But Hunter, listen, I hate to do it, but we got to hit this timeout, man. I appreciate you, brother. Hey, really good stuff, man. Yes, sir. Roll Tide. I told you Hunter was going to bring some good stuff. Listen, he don't even realize I muted him, man. It's the beauty of me being able to control it now. All right, we got to hit this timeout. When we come back, we'll let Adam open up and talk some more. We got some stuff we'll dive into right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property? We got some cracks and potholes with the pastor's analysis right now. Is what we got, Adam. Me and Adam are matching. We got gray shirts on, man. Where's your gray shirt? You over there wearing that, Tommy Bahama shirt, man?
I just deal with them gray clouds you're talking about.
I guess we're those gray clouds that you're describing with our gray shirts, man.
No, Adam speak the truth. You're the only one talking about that.
I literally said it. I said everything Adam was talking of. This. Then you hear what you want to hear, man.
Great.
I mean, it is a great discussion. This is why they want to give folks a hard time even getting on the field at a spring game, because this is why, man. Listen, you gotta call it fair, man. What you're doing right now is not calling it fair. You basically are saying if Alabama doesn't win a national championship, I don't give a shit what else they do. They could make it to the semifinals and lose off a walk-off field goal, and you would say, bad special teams play, man. They gave up a field goal, didn't make it to the championship. Like, that's what I'm saying.
It's Alabama.
Who gives a shit if it's Alabama or if it's Georgia?
These fans do, because that's why they don't hear complaining.
I don't see them complaining.
Adam, you agree? It's championship. It ain't just good enough. See, that's what I'm saying. Here we go, Adam. Catch this. They have lowered their standards. Now it's just about getting to Atlanta. It used to be about winning in Atlanta. Now it used to be about winning championships. Now it's just about, we got there though. See what I'm saying? That tells me the standard of Alabama football has been lowered since Nick Saban has left.
Well,
Nick Saban wouldn't be happy about just getting to
come
Atlanta.
On, man. Come on, man. You're stooping to the level of people that literally have no sense of reason. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously, like you hear what you're saying? So no, let me ask you a question. So and I just made a video on this other day.
Make another
Alabama fans need to lower their expectations. They do. That's a fact. Listen, we're living in a space where Texas Tech, a team that nobody was going to go play football for, is now landing back-to-back 5-star players, 5-star quarterbacks, 5-star edge guys. We're living in a world where Indiana, who you said it was either the worst or second to worst program in the history of college football, just ran the table, went undefeated, and won a national championship. Beating a good Miami team that has a lot of first-round talent on their team, is a very physical football team, and you're going to say, it doesn't matter. We're in a day and age. So if you have that mindset where, if Alabama doesn't do this, that, and the third, it automatically is a failure, you're setting yourself up for failure. That is not realistic. I know you're a man of faith, but listen, brother, not everybody can hoist that trophy every single year. And you're holding Alabama to a standard that's just not realistic. So if you have that mindset, of course you're going to view it the way you're viewing it. Adam, what do you think?
Well, I think it's a great discussion, and you both make very good points. One thing I would say is what concerned me this year was not that we lost; it was the way that we lost against Georgia and Indiana. It was not.
There you go.
And
it's
the other
different than what you're saying. That's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Adam.
Alabama's the bully. Alabama doesn't get bullied, and I felt like the way we lost was really something to be concerned about. It reminds me kind of, I think it was 2015 or 16 maybe. Nick Saban was on the sidelines and he's screaming at Lane Kiffin. The game's almost over. It's 38-10, and he's mad at him because of a play call that he made. And that's kind of the standard that Saban had. And he held you to the highest standard, no matter if it was 50-0 or if it was, who the competitor was. And then you had a game against Tennessee at Bryant-Denny. I think it was in 2016. Jarek Garantano goes back to pass right before the half. He gets hit so hard his helmet falls off. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, Alabama was so physical, so tough. And when I saw the way they lost against Georgia and Indiana, I was concerned. Now, of course, I love Alabama. The players are world-class athletes. So, I hate to be critical, but there is a problem in my view with mindset and physicality.
And me and you are on the exact same page. But see, that Adam, what you're stating is these are facts. That's very fair, right? That's why I keep saying two things can be true, right? Alabama can have some glaring issues that need to be corrected, while also still being successful in other measures. You get what I'm saying? You can't just, in my opinion, that's the correct. I don't know.
So we're gonna call Alabama a football team right now.
Oh my, you sound.
I will say this, and I hate to say this. It really pains me to say this, but after watching the spring game, the thought of 8-4 entered my mind.
Oh,
and to say that it really.
Yeah, no, I mean, but
let me do that prep.
Like
I've never seen somebody who like who celebrates negativity who's supposed to be some man of God. That's the corniest energy I've ever seen.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just telling you, this is
like that's the corniest energy. That's the lamest energy. That's energy from somebody who's mad that their school can't even get close to even doing a fraction of what
the callers have gone from championship to 8-4.
No, that the callers have said, hey, we're just realistic that this is a young team. This is a team that might have some issues. We have a tough schedule, and they're just starting to understand that, hey, sometimes you might have an uphill battle. Not meaning it's going to happen. I've been saying I think 9-3 is definitely very, very possible. But here's the difference. I'm not like you saying, oh, we're terrible. We're the worst school ever just because of that. Brother, this day and age of college football,
I did not ever say that.
Bro, you're praise dancing because people said it might go. Bro, what are you?
No, because Adam.
And by the way, for Seth in the chat, Coach Saban did not quit on the team because of NIL, man. If you're gonna talk crazy like that, brother, you're gonna have to.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That is crazy. That is crazy. That's not an opinion. That's not an opinion. I literally know Coach Saban personally. He did not quit because of that. He did not quit because of that. That's crazy
part of it.
No, it was not. He's 72 years old, dude. He needed to retire. He's coached for 45, 50 years.
I got the clip that says Miss Terry. When the lady
Bro, did that add more to his play?
Played a part.
Yes. Hold on. No, it added. That's not why. Bro, come on, man. Y'all about to get me off my rocker today, man.
I think he was very tired because the demands of a college football coach at Alabama, you're up at 7, 8. Maybe and going out at 10. It's a murderous schedule.
It is. Welcome back in, by the way, guys. Sorry, we got so many conversations going. It's some really good stuff, though. I like days like this, man. It feels competitive.
Mama said they're gonna be days like this where it can be sunny and 80 degrees.
Oh, God. All right. So we only got a couple minutes here before we hit this next break. We're joined by Mr. Adam Lamparello himself. You guys know him, of course, our official legal representation here on the show. So make sure if you guys are in a situation, hopefully you don't find yourselves there. But, hey, stuff happens. We've learned that. We've been talking about a number of different things. Make sure you guys check out Lamparello Law. You can always find Adam here on the show. He does join us every Thursday. Gives us some really good insight on a number of things that you're hearing right now. Really fresh perspective. But also, if you need any help with any of those situations, whether it's NIL, First Amendment cases, and of course, any other criminal defense matters, even on top of that, high school, graduate, and college students, if you need help with mentoring, exam and test taking preparation, application strategy, personal statements, long-term academic and professional planning, they've got you covered. Genuine care, passion, and relentless advocacy, just like he provides for us here on the show. But of course, those rates are better than anywhere that you'll find. 201-317-5115 for those affordable rates and representation, and also all of the help with all the students. Again, that is Lamparello Law. Adam at lamparello-law.com or the website lamparello-law.com. Our guy, Adam Lamparello.
Give a brother a call.
Adam, we only got like 2 minutes before we hit this next time out, man. You want to put a bow on kind of what we just were hitting on, man? Because I know you're kind of like you're like the judge in this case. I know you're a lawyer, but I feel like you're the judge, man. I've pleaded my case. He's over here pleading and spewing out his witchcraft today. I don't know what got a hold of him.
Make the decision, Adam. Make the decision. Who wins?
Talk to me, Adam. How do you feel about that whole thing, man? Is Alabama really in this spot that he's describing? Am I sunshine pumping, or you think? What do you think, Adam?
I think that you both make excellent points. And my opinion, or shall I say my quote unquote judgment, is that although Alabama has a lot of talent, if they want to return to the standard, the Alabama standard, they will have to play with more physicality and more mental toughness, because the way that we lost to Georgia and Indiana was not the Alabama standard. And I say that with all due respect. So the question is going to be, what is the culture like going forward? So at this point, what I see is a potential for an 8-4 season. However, we have to take the long-term view too. This is not next season is not the end of the road. We're at a fork in the road. Are we going to embrace physicality and be the bullies that we were, so that what happened against Indiana and Georgia never happens again? Or are we going to continue down a path where sure, we have some explosive playmakers, but when it comes down to winning and losing, it's all about the trenches. And right now, it's not, in my opinion, where it needs to be, and I say that respectfully.
No, I think it makes perfect sense, and I agree with what you're
So
saying.
basically, what he just said.
He basically said everything that I've been saying. He said everything that I've been saying. Listen,
you can't take the credit.
No, I'm not taking no. I'm not taking credit. What I'm saying is he's echoing a lot of the same sentiments, meaning like even going back a couple months when we sat on the show, who has been the one, even when the fans were going off about last season, who has been the one that has sat here with not sunshine pumping, but saying, let's call a spade a spade. There were two glaring, or really three things that came up last season that really took all the attention off of everything that was done. That was because the first impression of the 2025 football team was going on the road and losing to Florida State in a very embarrassing fashion. The reason I say very embarrassing, not because of the scoreboard, but because of how we lost. When we turn on the tape, we break down tape all the time here. When I see guys jogging to the football, when I see us getting blown off the line of scrimmage, when I see us looking like we're kind of tucking our tail, that was hard to watch. But that was the first impression that all of the fans and everybody watching got of Alabama last season. They did a nice job of kind of reclaiming that reputation. We had a great first half of the season. The offense was one of the best in the country, finding ways, even though we didn't run the football well, to control the time of possession through the air. Ty Simpson looked like the number one quarterback for half the season. And then, like my dad mentioned, the offense got worse. Defense got better, I would say, as the course of the season went on. And then how do we finish the season? Right? In a very similar fashion. An embarrassing loss to a really good Indiana team, but still. So we started the season with a really bad game. We ended it with a really bad game. What are people going to focus on? Those two moments. If you take away even one of those, I feel like it can even make a big difference on the outlook on last season. We got to hit this timeout. We come back. We got Gray Robertson coming up right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC.
Catch hourly local.
So
this combobulation at his best right now.
What do you mean? I'm gonna have to change the whole stream thing. Somebody said interchange.
The chat's about 8-4, 8-4. So 8-4 is everywhere, Adam. 8-4 is everywhere.
Well, you know,
I don't see that. Oh, I see 833.
I initially thought 9-3, but when I watched the spring game, I thought this could be 8-4. And look, Kalen DeBoer is an excellent coach. There's no question about that. But, you know, the physicality issue is a problem. You know, in 1990, when the Giants won the Super Bowl over the Bills, they had a running back, O.J. Anderson, who literally tore through the Bills' defense. And the Giants played with a nastiness about them. That's why the way that you talk reminds me of Giants. That's the DNA of the Giants, man, and I love it. That's the Bill Parcells, school. And I don't see it, and it's concerning me. But I try to say it as nicely as possible because I don't want to be banned from Tuscaloosa.
Oh, you're good. Like I say, hey, he doesn't care. He'll say whatever, knowing I got to go see these people and go, hey, coach, what's up? Yeah, sorry, my dad just said, the program's a failure, but hey, I hope you guys are doing well. No, you're good, Adam. You trust me, you're good. Listen,
I said the trajectory is going the wrong way.
Yeah.
Here's my thing though. I'll be the first one to say this. I'm honest, but when I look at our schedule, if you're saying 8-4, right, that means 4 teams have to go out there and earn a win against us. And even with a lot of our issues we had last year, that just didn't necessarily happen. I'll be honest with you. Like, that's why I said I don't think we have upgraded guys. I know Coach DeBoer was saying, like, I think we got better and we didn't pay as much. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if I would say most of the guys we got from the portal are better than what we had last year. I think they definitely can come in and provide that same or similar presence, right? Whether you're comparing a guy like LT Overton to Devin Tompkins. I mean, Terrence Green, I don't think he's going to provide a whole bunch more than a guy like Tim Keenan. I think it's intriguing because people see the length difference, but watching the guy play football, Tim Keenan did a great job eating up those blocks, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't really see a huge difference there. I mean, Josh Ford at tight end, I mean, I think he's a good player, but is he better than Josh Cuevas? My point is, I think they replaced a number of those guys with guys that can come in and play, and I think you could see a similar deal to last season personally. Like the offensive line, I think it's going to be an issue still. And that's why I might say, all right, maybe 9-3 because maybe we drop one more. Because I think they learned the lesson from Florida State. So if you erase that, you got East Carolina to start the season. I don't see more than 3 teams really just. I mean, I see Texas A&M, LSU, and potentially LSU. LSU, we don't even know LSU. We're kind of we're speculating. But Georgia and Texas A&M, those I'm already kind of like, I could see that, being a loss. But then outside of LSU, who else would you? I mean, Kentucky could be an interesting one early on.
No.
Tennessee. I mean, I'm just saying could be Tennessee. I mean, it's tough to go on the road there, but just really, I mean, maybe Auburn finds a way to. I don't know. Let me bring us back real quick. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Back to the phone lines. This time we got a partner in crime over on the Crimson Tide Sports Network, Gray Robertson. Gray, welcome in, man. Good Thursday to you.
What's up, partner? I am currently hanging out on the roof of my building, counting the 18-wheelers that are parked outside Bryant-Denny for the Morgan Wallen concert, and I can confirm it is 42. There are 42 18-wheelers parked in front of Bryant-Denny right now.
42 trucks? Like 18-wheelers? Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. I just counted them while I was on hold. Insane.
Goodness gracious. Well, I'll tell you this. I mean, at least you kind of got a free concert, man. As close as proximity as you are. I don't think you really need to bother getting a ticket. Maybe you did, but heck, maybe I just come scan in or something, go sit up on the balcony, because I sure as heck did not pay for those tickets. But yeah, you should have a great spot if you wanted to listen to it. Pretty cool stuff there. 42 trucks. I'm trying to envision where you say it in front of Bryant. Like where though? Where do you fit 42?
So there are 8 kind of in that parking lot, the staff parking lot, right adjacent to the Walk of Champions, and then the grassy lot where Crimson Tide Sports Marketing has some pregame events. There are 34 others.
Okay, yeah, that's still kind of hard to visualize, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, the parking lot and the grass, that's a lot. Gray, I got to ask you, speaking of the stadium, we had A-Day this past weekend. Now, I'm sure you probably were calling something or busy. I know you got your hands full this spring, but I imagine you've heard some of the noise coming out of A-Day. Keelan Russell having a big day. People excited about that. Some of these young wide receivers doing some impressive stuff. Defense definitely looking solid. Any takeaways, Gray, from A-Day? Anything that maybe kind of caught your attention, something you might not have expected, anything like that?
I think I was a little surprised by the statistical gap between Keelan Russell and Austin Mack in this game. And, you're right. I wasn't there, but I certainly was keeping up with everything going on, tracking what the writers were saying and kind of what the buzz was. And it was a little surprising to me how kind of clear it seems. I'm sure it's not that obvious who the starting quarterback is going to be, and Austin Mack is doing things in practice to make it competitive. But based on A-Day, Keelan Russell seems like he's got that bad boy locked and loaded. And I also thought it was interesting that a lot of the fan reaction seemed to be negative about the defense, and it seemed a lot of the media reaction was more, I think that's just because the offense was pretty good. So, A-Day is always tough because you're playing yourself, which means somebody's doing something good and somebody's doing something bad every single play, if that's how you want to grade it. But it seems, frankly, like a lot of people were really excited about the young pieces that I know we've been discussing on the show a few times.
Yeah, for sure. I put out a projected starters list for offense, and it was interesting, man, because I had a tough time. Noah Rodgers, he went down with that injury, and he's going to be out sidelined for a long time. But trying to figure out, I'm like, all right, I mean, Ryan's probably going to move to Z. Latsier, we know, is going to be that slot at H. But at X, man, they used Sedarian Morgan a lot inside during A-Day. He moved all around, but his frame is, it's like a prototypical X, man, 6'4", 223, and he did some really good stuff. But the problem I had was Derek Meadows was also really impressive at A-Day, and he was very consistent. And I actually wanted to put Derek Meadows as the starter at X after all these receivers did some good stuff. Rico Scott looked good as well, but ultimately went with Sedarian Morgan because I'm just like, man, when you got a young guy as talented as him, and I could see them kind of moving these guys around and doing different things. I don't know. I just felt like it made sense. But anyway, I brought that up because you mentioned a lot of young guys doing some good stuff. The receivers, that group, I thought a lot of players did some really good things. Gray, I want to get your thoughts real quick, man. I know you got a lot of stuff going on, but we always need the updates on baseball and softball, man. Tell us the latest. Both programs continuing to do some really good stuff, man. What's been going on since last time we talked to you, and what's in store coming up?
It's been a little bit of a mixed bag. We'll start on the softball side because, last time I was with you, I was standing on the dock getting ready to watch Alabama and Auburn, and Alabama swept Auburn, allowed 1 run across 3 games. Pitching was outstanding. And then Tuesday, kind of the stunner of the year, arguably, in maybe the sport. There's one other argument for it, but Alabama went to Sanford and lost 3-2, and it was just kind of a perfect storm of everything that could go wrong, did go wrong, and you did not execute well enough to win the game. Alabama was 0 for 12 with runners on, and I really don't care who you're playing. If that's how you hit situationally, you're not going to win. And it was just one of those nights where we learned, I think, like, we saw what happens when the team doesn't respond well to adversity, because they have for the most part this year. And now you kind of get to see, I think, how this team is going to embrace the hard. Like, this was a hard game on Tuesday, and you've got alumni weekend coming in. You've got Kentucky, who's last in the SEC. They've lost 17 straight SEC games. Like, everything says it should be a party, and you should be able to rock and roll and rule the Wildcats 3 times. And I think Tuesday was a reminder that you can't just show up and expect to do that. You've got to make sure that you perform, that you execute, that you do all the little things right to get the big thing, which is a win. And hopefully that's the kind of message that has been received loud and clear, because I even though Alabama lost to a team just inside the top 100 of the RPI on Tuesday, nothing about the ceiling changes for me. I still think they're very capable of winning the SEC and winning the national championship. And then baseball, just a tough weekend, just a really tough weekend at home, getting swept by Arkansas, kind of a struggle for the bullpen. And, after softball, we came back and were able to watch a lot of the baseball games. And it was just a lot of these games got away from them. And again, it's kind of a little bit of a wake up call on the baseball side as well, that, every weekend is a fight. And if you don't bring your best in the SEC, you're going to lose. And after bringing their best so often over the last month, it just wasn't there consistently this weekend. So I think overall in the Diamond Sports, kind of a week of learning, Christian, for everybody.
Yeah, no, it definitely sounds like that. And hopefully they can all kind of get that consistency back, because how far away are we from some of the postseason stuff coming up, Greg? Kind of what's left on the calendars for both of them?
Well, baseball goes about 2 weeks longer regular season than softball goes, and we're down to the final 3 weeks of the regular season. I mean, we were talking this week while I was doing bracketology and starting to chart seeds and all that jazz. We're a month away from regionals in the NCAA tournament, so it really does sneak up on you. And this is the time where you got to make sure everything's fine tuned, so everyone's clicking on all cylinders once we're at regional play in about a month.
That makes perfect sense. Well, Greg, I want to segue real quick back to football. Real last minute question here, because me and my dad got into a nice little debate here, man. And he listen, he's the type where he's more on the glass half empty, right? I'm gonna be on the glass half full side of things. But we were discussing things, and he was just taking a look back at the last season that we had, and then also kind of looking ahead. And he's under the impression that, hey, man, Alabama, the fashion in which they lost, which we all can agree was not up to the standard, right? And that took a lot of attention off of even some of the good that they did. But he's even saying that, looking forward, you got a young team, young offensive line. I feel like there's some gray clouds in the sky. How would you assess kind of Alabama's year from last season, and then also moving forward into this season, kind of the trajectory and the projection of this football team?
I think Alabama was better last year than they were 2 years ago. Now, I don't necessarily think that led to a major change in results, but I felt like the gameplay was better. As it pertains to kind of how the program is viewed, it's interesting. I had this conversation last night with a friend of mine on the softball side who won 3 national championships at Oklahoma. And last night, Oklahoma State beat Oklahoma 6-4 in Bedlam, in Oklahoma City. And Oklahoma State went crazy. And we're texting, and she said, I hate how they celebrated like they just won the World Series. And I said, well, here's my counter. as long as teams, when they beat you, keep celebrating like that, that tells me that you as a program are okay. And as long as teams keep storming the field if and when they beat Alabama, that tells me that the program is still viewed as up at the top of the mountaintop. So have the last 2 years been results-wise top of the mountaintop? Maybe not necessarily. But is that still the perception of Alabama? I think it will be until there's a year that forces people to change that view. And it's hard not to see, for me, some of the incremental developments and improvements over the year 1 to year 2 in the DeBoer era. And I would assume that there are some areas where year 3, those improvements will continue.
Gray, before I let you go, I got to ask you one last thing as a follow-up. Because my point is, I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you maintain the same standard as an Alabama fan for the team and the program that you may have had, that you may have had over the course of the last 15 years or so, right? Not just because of the coaching change, but because of the change in the landscape of college football. I use the example with, Texas Tech and Indiana. I mean, you look at these two football teams that went from being completely irrelevant to now seeing where they're at as programs. Do you think it's embarrassing, or not necessarily embarrassing, but it's a shame to say that Alabama fans should maybe reset some of those expectations? Or do you think that's more so just kind of that's probably adjusting and adapting to the current system in which we see college football at?
I think it's okay to have expectations of the end goal, but I think the expectations of the path need to change, because we talked about this a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. Like 9-3, 7 years ago is not even a BCS bowl. You're not even getting into a good bowl. You're probably going quote unquote good bowl. Apologies to the folks at the Capital One Bowl and the Citrus Bowl, but now 9-3 can get in the playoff, and you have a chance to win the national championship. And I think, like, should your goals still be win the SEC, win the Natty? Of course. But I think you've got to understand, and the general fan needs to understand, that winning consistently, down to down, day to day, game to game, is harder than it's ever been in any collegiate sport. And that's why, 9-3 works in the college football playoff. That's why you see teams that are barely above 500 because of strength of schedule get into baseball and softball postseasons. That's why, we have teams who maybe don't have great regular seasons go on runs in the NCAA tournament because winning is hard. And I think the path is what probably needs to be adjusted. The end result, no. I mean, this is Alabama, and you still are here to win championships. But the path is going to be a little bit different, especially in football now that you're about to play the toughest schedule ever. We've never seen 9 conference games in SEC play before. And it'll be interesting to see how Alabama and all the teams in the league handle that change.
Absolutely. Definitely going to be interesting, and I'm sure there's going to be even more changes down the road. Gray, we appreciate you hopping on and joining us, man. Hey, real quick before I let you go, tell everybody about all the work you're doing, especially on the softball side of things. I know you got a lot of content that you guys put out.
Oh, yeah, we have a big weekend. We have the Out of the Box podcast that dropped this week, @OutOfTheBox_pod on Twitter. We cover everything from Alabama to the SEC, and even we had a WrestleMania episode this week. We've got the radio broadcast on. And I'm the one that knows nothing. That's Tom's foray. I just go in and pick the names. But then we have the radio broadcast. And look, I would recommend listening to hear Tom's analysis, not mine. Mine is I think that guy needs a shower. I'm going to take the other guy. But then, TV broadcast this weekend as well for Alumni Weekend on SEC Network Plus. That'll be a good time, and always staying busy.
Absolutely, man. Love to hear it. I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here on the show. Gray, have a great weekend, man. We'll talk soon, brother.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Christian.
Absolutely. Gray Robertson, everybody, of the Crimson Tide Sports Network and SEC Network, of course. We got into timeout. We come back. We wrap things up, and plus we still got Mr. Lamparella. We'll finish with him on the other side right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Breaking news for your home.
My dad's sick of it, Adam. He's like, man, I'm sick of all this. Hey, listen, man. Listen. Yeah, I mean, you got to come.
I wish I had a violin during that interview.
A violin? See, look at Adam. This guy here, man.
Man, Adam
what?
There, like, we should have had our own separate show while they doing that. You know,
because I'm giving attention to some other sports, which is really important. I apologize. Gray normally comes on Wednesday, but he got pushed back.
I know.
And
Great, good.
Yeah, he's awesome. I just wanted to make sure we listen. Our softball team, man. I love Coach Murphy, man. They're doing some good stuff. Always want to get the latest with them.
All this, we need to change our mindset as a fan base.
You're hearing it wrong, man. Listen. It's what Gray just said. No, when I say alter expectations, that does not mean. Again, like this is what gets me frustrated, man. This is what gets me frustrated. You're talking to somebody that played in 4 straight national championships. If you think when I say, alter your expectations, then that means, we should not strive to be national champions. That's the furthest thing from what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you can't sit there and leave a season and then every year that you don't win a national championship, have the mentality that you have. And so basically everything is a failure. I just don't believe that. Like Georgia, I'm sure Kirby in that program, they face similar stuff. I mean, they've had first round exits the last couple of years in the playoffs. That is disappointing. But I also think you got to put some respect on the fact that they've been back-to-back SEC championship winners. Like, I'm just saying, in what world do you see one team win a national championship every single year? I know it felt like that with us, but that's a definition of I hate to say it, being spoiled. That's not common.
Well, back in the day, Alabama won when Nick Saban was on the tear. Everybody in his class won a national championship in his recruiting class.
Right.
You're going to get some, So, but my thing is, I don't get the whole thing is harder. I get all that, people with money and some other teams. But at the same time, then Alabama can spend money too. Alabama can invest in the other players. They just been investing in the wrong players. You like stocks and bonds and all that, Ross and IRAs and, well, you investing, but you also could be investing in the wrong thing where you're losing money. Well, Alabama just have been making some bad investments. They got program, they got history, they got all of that. And then they just don't lose. Adam said this earlier. It ain't about losing. It's how they're losing. There's domination when they're losing. There's embarrassment when they lose. Nobody's storming the field no more beating Alabama. Why? Because Alabama's average.
I'm pretty sure they still storm.
Are all over the world, and we are too. Download the Tide 100.9 app right now in the App Store and Google Play, and take the Crimson Tide everywhere you go.
I thought we were back. Sorry, I jumped the gun. And welcome back into this Thursday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. This has been quite the eventful day, man. We've been joined by Mr. Lamparello himself of Lamparello Law, Education, and Advocacy. Again, make sure you guys check them out for any of your representation needs. And, of course, any type of planning, whether that's academic or career planning, young adults, high school, college students, they've got you covered. 201-317-5115. Or you can always email Adam at lamparello-law.com, or just come hang out on the stream where he visits with us frequently. And you can definitely get into contact with Mr. Lamparello right there as well. Guys, I want to hit this real quick. Again, we also have the Pastor of Payne joining us from the luxury, what's Rice headquarters? What's the name of the boat that you're on? Is there a name?
Rice Quarters.
Rice Quarters? Yeah, okay. From Rice Quarters. Guys, there's been some reports coming out. Speaking of, the landscape of college football, I just heard a number thrown out there, allegedly, that there's some estimates of $60 million, I guess, put towards NIL in 2026. Now, that sounds a little wild, but this was Courtney Morgan the other day speaking on some NIL stuff and how they handle it. Hold on. Can you guys hear that? Nope. There we go. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
What other people
there we go.
You never really know what other schools are spending. Everyone has creative ways in the third party NIL, the NIL portion of their spending pay players. So you really don't know what other people are really doing. You kind of do the math in your own head by monitoring what other schools and competition are doing, wondering are more than $40 million, but you just never really know. So what we've done is try to take things in our own hands, come up with different ways so we can help offset the gap through content creation, third-party deals. You spend trying to worry about what competition is when you're not taking care of what's going on in your own program.
All right, so he just even alluded to, there is the potential for, rosters that consist of, over 60. No. He didn't say. He said over $40 million. I think Josh Pate tweeted he's heard of even $60 million rosters. Guys, when you guys hear that, man, what goes to y'all's minds? I mean, you got Coach Saban trying to help clean stuff up, but then you got everybody complaining about him doing that. I think we're seeing why he's saying that, because we went from $20 million the next year. Now it's around $40 million. Now we're already hearing $60 million. Where does it end, Adam?
Well, I think that the fact that it's so unregulated is deeply problematic, and it is ruining college football. One thing you talked about before is the glass half empty or is it half full? What I would say is it's 1/3 full. That's how I would. And I say that because when you look at Indiana, Michigan, Ohio State, the last 3 national champions, how did they beat you? They beat you at the point of attack through physicality. That was their DNA. It wasn't some fancy scheme. It was they lined up and they kicked your ass. For Alabama to be successful, they have got to return to the physicality that defined them in the Saban era, and they have to have the mental toughness to be able to persevere in difficult games, win those close plays, and win at the line of scrimmage. I think the concern is not what's the record going to be. We can win a national championship if we're 9-3 or 10-2. The question is, how are we winning and how are we losing? And the concern for me is how we're losing, because we're putting the prize before the process, and we got to get back to the process.
I like it. Any last thoughts, Pastor Payne, real quick? I'm going to stay on the stream for a second, but we're closing out on radio, so I want to give you the floor.
I like the fact that you said you put the prize before the process. That's the problem. That's my quote of the week: the prize before the process. I like that. So the bottom line is this: we're looking at a team 8-4, 9-3. That's what we're looking at right now. There's nothing that we've seen through spring, through this A-Day. Nothing has given anybody any great confidence that this team should be better. And so therefore, until that is shown, which won't be until football season, that's what they're going to be in my mind. They're going to have to prove me that they're better than an 8-4 type of team. And right now, that's what I've seen. And history says that.
What is that? What?
That means history based on what I've seen.
Go. Listen, you're on a yacht. You're at the go enjoy it, man. Golly.
I'm enjoying it.
I'm starting to see why people, I'm not going to lie. Listen to you today. I can see why people used to, when they hear you say stuff. I'm not going to lie. It's not coming from if they do. It's just so history says it.
The same way. A lot of people in the chat feel the same way.
I mean, golly.
Well, what have they done to make me feel like this?
You didn't even see A-Day, so what the hell are you talking about?
I've seen A-Day. I've seen enough.
Corey had a Pro Bowl season. Corey had a Pro Bowl season for the Giants in 1993, and you want to know why? He was nasty. And I love it.
Yeah. I don't have to say it. I've seen 2 years of getting tail kicked up front in the trenches of Alabama football. That's what I've seen.
And I've seen
Vanderbilt dominate them.
And I saw South Carolina and Cancun on the back of that yacht with you. Adam, we appreciate you, brother. Look forward to next week, man. Seriously, it's always a pleasure having you on, Adam.
Thanks so much. Great to see y'all. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. You too, man. Adam Lamparello of Lamparello Law Education Advocacy. We got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow for Free for All Friday right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC.
You've been listening to the Miller's Edge, tackling sports daily.
Reed, I appreciate it, man. We're going to have to just change the title of this video. We didn't even talk about this whole starting thing. I put it on X, so if you guys want to go respond there, I would have mentioned this while I got it pulled up real quick. Let me unmute him. We can put him back on here real quick. I feel like I'm like controlling around the horn, man. If you guys remember that show, I think it got canceled, but got to just hit that button sometimes. You got to slow them down. The biggest things that I had, right? So let me restart. This is my projected starters for Alabama going into 2026. Following A-Day, following spring, which just concluded today, I went ahead and we'll start with the quarterback, right? Keelan Russell. I put him there, even though I would not necessarily be shocked if game one you see Austin Mack maybe get the nod, but I think ultimately Keelan ends up being the quarterback. I went with Daniel Hill, the experience there, but I think you're going to see a number of guys earn some opportunities at that running back spot. But I've liked the consistency that I've seen out of Daniel Hill this spring. I love that he's gotten healthy. He's shed some weight. He just seems to be running behind his pads more. He looks more explosive. I think he's earning that spot as that running back one. Now, of course, I'm sure you'll see a healthy amount of other running backs, but you just put one on the list. We'll just go ahead and go with Mr. Hill right there. The receivers were tricky for me because before Noah Rodgers, I think everybody already knew. You had Ryan at the Z, Noah at X, then Latsier Brooks at the H or the slot. With injury to Noah Rodgers, it got confusing for me because during A-Day, there was a healthy amount of wide receivers being rotated in there. Derek Meadows was playing the X a lot. Cedarian Morgan, who I put at the X, actually was playing a lot more inside. They had him lined up at slot, believe it or not. He was playing like that big slot role. But and it's funny because we had a couple of people respond on X and they said they would interchange Derek Meadows, even if that meant maybe Derek Meadows initially getting the start there and then down the road Cedarian Morgan taking over that spot. That's personally probably how I saw it. But when I was making the graphic, I'm like, if I put Cedarian Morgan up here, I think people will know what I mean in terms of like him ultimately getting to be that guy. But I do probably feel that Derek Meadows has a really good chance of stepping up. Number one, because he's been running at the X for the most part throughout the spring. And two, he's been doing a really good job at it. So totally in agreement with our listeners over on X who mentioned swapping Cedarian Morgan with Derek Meadows, because I completely agree. I was going to honestly put both the guys next to each other, but I didn't have enough space. And then in terms of the tight ends, right, this is for both 11 personnel and 12 personnel. I went ahead and did the tight end Y, tight end H. I don't think that was a hard one. Josh Ford being that tight end Y, basically that just means he's going to be that inline tight end, the more physical of the two, going to be in that C area, right, providing a little bit more run support, or more blocking in the run support. And then that H, which can be a little bit more off the ball, split out wide, a little bit more of the pass catching option at tight end. Caleb Edwards, I went ahead and put him there. Then with the offensive line, Jackson Lloyd pretty much been named the starter, basically doubled down on it through Yay, Alabama in that article. So we went ahead and penciled him in there. I went with Will Sanders at left guard. I just haven't seen anybody else step up that I feel like would give me a reason to think that they would beat a guy out like Will Sanders, who I think is a good football player, and I like a lot out of what I saw from him last season. So I put him in at left guard when he returned from injury. They were talking about nastiness, intensity. I've seen that out of Racing Delgado. I've seen him, blocking to the whistle. I've seen him finishing the play and really, pancaking players and all that stuff. I mean, I've seen that type of play out of a guy like Racing Delgado, and I liked it. So I without a doubt, we already know he's going to be at center, Michael Carroll at right guard, and then Javen James at right tackle. So the only way I see this really changing could be if they don't feel like they're getting what they need out of Javen James at right tackle. What do? You just kick Michael Carroll back out to right tackle, which he wants to play there and he can do a good job at it. And then you hopefully find somebody that can step up at the guard spot and fill in there. But overall, I think this is probably what you're going to see. Now, really the only two things I could see changing could be maybe one of the guard spots, maybe Austin Mack stepping out there for game number one, even though I think ultimately Keelan Russell will overtake that spot. And then at the wide receiver position, could see a world where you swap Cedarian Morgan with maybe Derek Meadows at X. I mean, I wouldn't rule Rico Scott out either, but Rico's worked more at the slot and the Z, right? I think, matter of fact, I think mostly at Z, but also some slots. So we'll have to see what they do. But overall, I think that's probably a good chance of what you'll see, at least at some point during the 2026 season, which consists of a lot of potential, a lot of youth, a lot of inexperience, which is definitely worrisome. But I think if these guys can make it through those growing pains and end up, being the football players I think we definitely think they can be at some point, I think they'll do some really good stuff, man. I mean, I think it looks like an offense that has a potential to have some explosiveness. However, I think it's all going to be determined on what those guys up front do, which I still have concerns with the offensive line, 100%, just like everybody else. But I think if they can figure out things up front in the trenches, they should be able to give this offense a chance. So I just wanted to get to that because I know we were supposed to do that, and we never had a chance to really do that throughout the show. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. I don't know if you probably don't even know who half these people are. Of course you don't, man. Come
I
on,
mean,
man.
I got to see when the fall gets here. I mean,
you probably could start too.
The one thing is the quarterback. Like I said, I care about the one important one. That's the quarterback. The offensive tackles. To me, it's going to be going to be what's going to have to happen. Because the protection was so bad the last couple of years. So those three positions, left, right tackle, quarterback, to me, I think the receivers got a chance to be decent. Running game, Danny Hill, we know of, very physical back. But the offensive line, again, that's your big question. I mean, we just don't know. And I don't think you can judge that based on the spring. So we just got to wait and see. It's a wait and see process. And you're just not going to know anything. I mean, it can be hope. I hope this guy does good. I hope that guy does well. But reality is, until we see real game time action and what they can do, we just shooting at the stars.
But for you more so, but I'm saying though, like, I mean, I've seen these guys, so it's not like I'm just looking at a graphic and guessing. Right? Now, I'm not saying it's a tell all, but like, for example, this conversation a few weeks ago, I would agree that I'm concerned about the tackle play. After seeing Jackson Lloyd throughout the spring, I'll be the first one to tell you, because I was in agreement. Whoa, way too early to go ahead and name a guy starting left tackle 3 days in the spring, a guy that didn't play last year. I didn't agree with that. However, after seeing him this spring, I'll be the first one to tell you, I do believe that he actually is going to be a good football player. I broke down, if you go watch it, I did a whole film breakdown on the 6-minute plus video from A-Day. There's a couple plays you see Jackson Lloyd, man, like some things that a very instinctual football player would do, right? You see him, like they ran a text game on him. He got picked. He almost did like a speed turn, right? Ends up reestablishing his block. I mean, it was impressive. Little things like that, being able to see him handle some of those edge rushers. I thought he did a pretty good job. Now, he does need to get a little bit stronger, right? He needs to be able to anchor down when he's presented with power. But you see the footwork, you see the athleticism. I mean, I think he's going to be a good player. I feel pretty solid about left tackle, if I'm being honest with you. Not saying he's not going to give up plays. I'm sure when we get into SEC play, he's still young, he's still green, right? And he struggles a little bit with power. He's going to see some things, and it's not going to be perfect, but I think he's going to do a pretty good job, especially the more reps that he gets. Will Sanders, I think, is a good football player. He got reps last year, and he stood out when he got in there at guard, right? He's a snappy guy. He's not huge. I mean, he's listed at 6'3". He might be closer to 6'2". They had him at like 315. He's probably gotten a little bit bigger, but I think he can give you some good reps at guard. The new center, like I said, I've seen him. I was unsure. He came from Cal Poly. I wanted to see him against some, real competition, some SEC competition. He's done some good stuff this spring. Like, he's a physical guy. Y'all are talking about that nastiness. That center that we brought in, I will say, he plays like that. He plays with the nastiness. I watched him get chippy with a number of guys, both in A-Day and the spring, the scrimmages. So, and then Michael Carroll, he's the same thing. So I'm honestly looking at this offensive line like, I don't know what their true ceiling is. I don't know how much confidence I have in them being a whole bunch better, but I can definitely see them taking some steps and being a solid unit, a decent unit. I don't know if they're a top 20 unit. I don't know. That's to be determined. But I'm starting to be able to, after seeing them this spring, I'm starting to be able to see, I guess, and feel out the potential and kind of where it might be working towards. I will acknowledge that.
We're going to see. We're going to see. I'm going to get up out of here. And
are they not playing right now? Is the tournament going on?
Right now. Yeah, all day. They're playing right now. Your boy Justin Thomas struggling from, speaking of Bama. They're not playing too well. I'm watching on TV right here, but I'm going to chime down for a minute, go to the bathroom, and get ready for the afternoon crowd.
Nice. We appreciate you jumping on. Yeah, I'll be chilling tomorrow. I think we're pretty open, so we'll be chilling. You know where to find us.
All right, Bama, roll tide and 8-4. I'll let you.
Okay,
go.
This dude, man. This dude here, man. He can't even figure out how to get out here. He can't even figure out how to turn his iPad off. What's up, way offsides? Let's see. Let me read some of these chats because I know I didn't get a chance to read a whole bunch. I was over here in a heavyweight battle over here with this guy. Always doom and gloom coming out of an A-Day. If we look good, doesn't matter until fall. If we look average, season's over. Walls are crashing down. That's what it feels like sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on who you ask. I saw a lot of at least like positive stuff in the media, people really pleased. But listen, I just give you guys my honest opinion. I'm not going to sound like him by any means, but like, let me just be honest. Like, I went into A-Day and I didn't have the highest expectations because scrimmage 2, I'm just going to be completely honest with you. Like, I went into scrimmage 2 and watching that scrimmage, I was like, I mean, it did kind of feel like definitely like a 9-3 type football team. And I could totally see a world of 8-4 walking out of scrimmage 2, if I'm just being completely transparent with you. So as I went into A-Day, my expectations weren't super high. But what I saw in some of the positives, I was like, okay, this is actually, a little bit better than I was even anticipating. That's not to say I think everything's, all perfect and fixed and we're on our way to go win a national championship, so to speak. I mean, I think there's still just some some key points that have to improve, especially up front. But like even with the defense, that's why I told you guys, like I was impressed with some of the things I saw on defense, but I guess, and this ain't even a standard of comparing it to like the teams I played on or those years. I know a lot of people like to do that. I'm not even really doing that here. I'm just even comparing it to like some of the good defenses that I saw play last football season or some of the just football teams in general that we watched play in the postseason. And I know it's spring, but I can't sit there and say I walked away and thought we look like that type of football team. No, I don't think we're that. Not yet, at least. But the way my dad is, I mean, you guys know how he is, man. I mean, it's just like he's kind of back and forth because there's at some points last season I remember thinking everybody was like, "Whoa, man! Like, what's gotten into him? He sounds all positive all of a sudden." But I think it just depends on the day with him. I think it depends on the day. I'd be lying if I said the OL didn't concern me, but they deserve the chance to get better, and I think they will. But that doesn't mean I'm not worried. Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, that's just how I view it. Listen, He calls it sunshine pumping. My definition and his definition is way different. To me, sunshine pumping is Keelan Russell just threw for 4 touchdowns. The defense is doing this. Alabama's, going to be a playoff team and going to win a national championship just because of like, you know what I mean? Like the very surface level things like, oh man, all those young receivers look good. And to me, that's like sunshine pumping. But if you're just saying, hey, I'm acknowledging the good, but I'm also acknowledging the bad, I just think that's how you should do it. Just like Adam was saying. I think it gets misconstrued. Like when you point out some of the positives from last year, that's not saying I'm overlooking us performing bad against Florida State or Indiana. I mean, I came on this show and literally was brutally honest about those games. And I've always said, I mean, those have been the glaring spots from last season or even 2 years ago. Like if you call a spade and you look at if we go play Indiana and we lose by even 10 points, say you lose to Indiana by 10 points, you're down 3 late in the fourth quarter, they score go ahead touchdown, you lose by 10. Even if you lose to Florida State, but it's not in that fashion, and not even just so much again the scoreboard, really what you're seeing on the field, like Adam and my dad mentioned, like the physicality, right? If it's a game where like you saw Miami against Indiana and you see a team of 2 physical, trenches going at it, battling each other back and forth. I mean, like if that was how Alabama lost in those types of football games, I don't think there'd be half the conversations that we're hearing. Like I'll be the first one to acknowledge that. Like that's what's driving a lot of this conversation right now. And I get it. Like if anybody gets it, I get it. Like I totally understand and agree. But I just can't go as far as saying like we're in this spot where, man, like everything's about to come crashing down just because even with some of those performances, like those are definitely red flags. Sure, I agree. Red flags that need to be fixed. But to completely dismiss going and playing in an SEC championship game, just my opinion. I can't. I put respect on that. I that's a tough task. I mean, I know you beat Georgia early and it's a different football team, but still, I mean, you still had to go on the road in that environment and beat Georgia. You still had to go on the road and play Missouri. And I know they ended up, not being everything that they were earlier on, but still, I mean, at one point they were like leading the country in rushing yards. We were struggling with stopping the run. Now, granted, we were an accurate quarterback away from probably losing that game, if we're being honest. If that quarterback had any type of accuracy, even late in the game, I mean, to be fair, if he wouldn't have threw that pick completely way behind the receiver, I think he's running down the seams and completely missed. That could have been different. We know South Carolina could have been different, so I acknowledge those games too. But the fact was the results were the results, and that's what I'm going off of. So I just like giving credit where it's due, but I'm also going to hold people accountable when it's also necessary. Question, Christian, can you explain to us how much the RPO and read option could help the run game? Yeah, that's a really good question. So RPO game, right? Run pass option. I wish I had it pulled up. Long story short, man, it definitely just keeps the defense honest. Really, from a defensive perspective, man, I mean, everything is telling you, all your indicators are telling you this is or could be a run. Because the way the offensive line blocks is they're going to block as if it's a run play because that's the first option, run pass option. Everything initially, is going to be tailored towards a running play, more or less. Unless you saw like what we saw in the scrimmage where, pre-snap, you already know what you're getting to. But still, the offensive line, they're going to block it the way they're going to block it. So as a defender, man, everything, all your keys are telling you run. And so the fact is you can still have slants or, routes coming behind you if that quarterback does decide to pull it. RPOs are some of the hardest plays to defend as a defense. So in terms of how that could, help the running game, I mean, it just keeps the defense honest. And then once you get hit by, a slant behind you, those linebackers have to respect that. I mean, you have to read your keys, but also be aware that, man, they just hit this slant behind me and, going for a nice game. Like you have to, it just keeps you honest as a defense. And then I think you also mentioned zone read, which definitely could help with the run game. I mean, clear example, or read option. Clear example, you look at what we were able to do with Jalen Milroe. Our traditional running game was not great in 2024, but what helped us out was we had a dual threat quarterback who was one of the best runners of the football, hence why they called his number so many times. Fans that didn't know what they were talking about were blaming the guy, saying he's keeping the ball, he's selfish play. Just saying stupid stuff. But the reality was you put the ball in your best player's hands. And in terms of, running the football, he was one of the best guys that we had. And as a defense, that's always a conflict because that's stopping options is all about discipline, right? Everybody is assigned a role. Everybody has a job. And when you get into that, the zone read and the option world, you got a quarterback player, dive player, all that stuff. And all it takes is one guy not being responsible for their job for a big play to happen. When I look at Keelan Russell and just see that explosiveness that he has, that burst when he's, whether it's quarterback design run or you saw him scrambling, man, the dude's got some wheels on him. Of course, we know he can throw the football. That's primarily what he wants to do. But it just adds another element that defenses now have to respect, right? And not even just from an early down, perspective of, hey, they could run zone read here. We got to be disciplined. This guy could pull it. I mean, you got quarterback plus one design run. What that means is you can now use that running back as an extra blocker. That makes it tough to have enough hats on defense, right, to really defend those plays. That's why you'll hear defensive coordinators talk about that. Quarterback plus runs are tough. So when you have a dual threat quarterback, South Carolina, you'll see Oklahoma does a lot. Basically, the back can be an extra blocker. And so what these teams will also do is you'll see like the Tennessees, they'll spread you out, right? So you'll see doubles, wide splits by these wide receivers. What does that do to a defense? It spreads you out. So now you've got, linebackers walking out. They got to play the apex, right? So when these linebackers are outside the box, so you got traditional 4 down, you got one of your backers that stays in there. You got a 5-man box. They already have 5 offensive linemen, but then you take that running back, and now he's basically a lead blocker. They've got 6 on 5 because your whole defense is spread out. You got to respect that. because now that's the next evolution. You talk about RPO, so you got doubles, right? You're spread out, 5-man box. You see that quarterback, he has that option, so he's going to be looking at this apex player. So if you're not respecting that, right, what's he going to do? He's going to pull that ball. He's got the screen, right? I mean, it's tunnel, bubble. He's going to hit that. If the box is light and they like what they see, he's going to hand it off. Tennessee does a lot of that. And that's why a team like Tennessee, who can definitely be explosive through the air, they're always one of the most explosive offenses. Josh Heupel's system is very tough, especially to defend. They always run the football relatively well. It's not that they're running a whole bunch of just true gap scheme with 12 personnel and getting big bodies out there. It's more of a numbers game. So really good point, Smitty. I wish I had some tape to really show you. I guess I could if I needed to, but I think you guys get what I'm talking about. And that's what makes it tough on defenses, man. Spreading people out. It's a numbers game. Quarterback plus one run. It's not having enough hats, puts you in a lot of predicaments as a defense, to the point where you have to basically say, are we willing to maybe give up a few more yards on the ground if they do hand it off, right? Or if the quarterback keeps it, or where we'd rather, take away some of those throws that they might be trying to hit if we're trying to keep guys in the box to defend that. You got to make a decision. I've talked to a lot of coaches that say that, we've gone from, the world of, hey, man, we don't want to give up more than 2.5 on the ground per average, to where, hey, we're okay with giving up 3+, maybe almost 4 sometimes, depending on who we're playing, if that means taking away some of those explosives through the air that we know they're also trying to get to. So in terms of how we could use that, I think Keelan Russell is a prime candidate of a guy that could help that. Now, personally, he's a little bit on the smaller side. Like, I'd be a little bit careful. Like, quarterback design, run with him. I definitely think you utilize it, but he needs to be in a position where he understands when to get down. That's really important. If you have one of these other guys, you see like Mateer, you see how they utilize. John Mateer is a little bit of a bigger guy, not by height, but just by size. I think he's a little bit more, built to handle that. But really good question, Smitty. I hope that made sense. I know that I was kind of getting into a little bit of a defensive word salad, but I think you guys can pick up on it. Sorry, keep up with it. Have we seen even a hint of an average running game? We're playing for a ring. I don't know if I go that far. I do think you definitely have a much better chance of being a playoff team, which, I guess that's pretty much the same thing. But, it's still going to be a number of things. I also think there could be a chance. Like last year, we had really good, ball security, especially through the air. Like Ty did a phenomenal job protecting the football. Naturally, and I know Ty was a newer quarterback, but I think the way Ty's style, he did a really nice job protecting the football. As great as Keelan Russell is, I'll just be honest with you, I would expect probably a few more turnovers by a guy like that. That's just kind of, he's going to be more aggressive. He's younger. Ty is, when it comes to pre-snap recognition, post-snap recognition, I'm not saying our quarterbacks can't do it. I'm sure they also do a really good job. But Ty was, really good at that. And then he forced some things, not like in like a risky way. Like he would hit those, those deep middle shots, those hole shots. But it's because he knew what he was seeing. He trusted what he was seeing, pre-snap, post-snap recognition. He was about as good as it gets. So running game would definitely play a big factor, but then you also got to take into consideration, like, well, I think we could be a little bit more explosive with some of these quarterbacks that we have. They might be slightly more turnover prone. Not saying that they're necessarily turnover prone guys. I just, from what I've seen out of them, if I'm just being honest, like I've seen Keelan in practice throw, picks here and there. It's part of it. Austin Mack, sometimes that consistency is just a little off, and that's just something I would also consider. Everyone last year could just pin their ears back. Yeah, when you don't really have a balanced offense, that's why we talked about it. We sat on the show from like week prior to on. Because week 1 against Florida State, I can't remember what the numbers ended up being, but we had like that first drive where we ran the ball extremely well. We ran the football right down their throat. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. The running game was decent in that Florida State game, at least the first half. But then we couldn't protect. We couldn't protect against that defensive line. They were way too disruptive. And then it just never really got much. The running game never really got better. Pass pro actually wasn't terrible. Our back struggled in pass pro a lot, which that also was an issue at A-Day, which needs to get cleaned up. I would say Ty was more of a game manager. Yeah, exactly. I would consider Ty a game manager 1,000%. People might take that as disrespect. I don't think it's disrespect. I mean, it's just the way he operates feels more like a game manager type quarterback. I think Keelan Russell is definitely more along the lines of a game changer. At least he has that type of ability. Not only with just how well he throws the football, but you see that type of athleticism when things do break down. I think he's more of a game changer. And this might be wrong, but I always view guys that are game changers, they're going to take more risks. And with more risks, sometimes comes, more picks or more turnovers, things like that. So a little bit different of a style. And not always, but I just think that's something to consider. Offensive line is the easy target, but the team lacked home run ability and consistently and constantly lost the field position battle. Lack of explosion with bad field positions is a terrible combo. 100%. But early on, man, we had some explosive ability. Go back to like the earlier games and think about Ty hitting those cover 2 hole shots. Think about Ty completely exposing the deep middle part of the field, which is very tough for a quarterback to do. I look at Missouri. We had some nice plays. I look at Vanderbilt. We had a number of explosive plays through the air. I look at trying to think of some of these other games that I feel like we had some explosive playability. But yeah, towards the end of the year, we didn't really have that. And I commented on that yesterday, man. Field position was really, really a struggle. And on both ends, we were giving teams way too good a field position. Whether it was because of special teams, turnover, whatever the case may be, or even just a turnover on downs a couple of times. And if you're given like Georgia in the SEC championship game, if you sit there and you give a good football team great field position where I think 3 of their touchdowns came on our territory, that's a problem. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Unfortunately. Let me see. I just want to see this first drive real quick. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I got to be careful with this because I don't want to. I was like, wait, who was the running back? I was confused for a second. That was Richard Young. I mean, the way we started this game, I was like, man, we look good. Ran the football down their throat. Really nice drive. Ate up the clock. I want to say it took up, I think our first drive might have been like 8 minutes or something like that. And it's like little stuff like this, man, like that you see does a nice job of, for example, you watch the motion by Ryan, right? You see what it does? His backer's going to boss over, right? And they're working back weak. Well, technically that was the strong side, but you get the point, right? And you see what happens to this linebacker. Now he's a step behind. Really nice job. Nice job running through arm tackles here. Looks like we got some good push from, who is that? Got a little bit of a combo from the tackle and the tight end, but yeah, nice job by Proctor, man, clearing that hole out. That's what you want. That's a good picture right there, man. It's the thing, like, I mean, these guys, that's what I was saying. Like when people make it seem like you didn't have guys to do this stuff, like, oh, you need some. I mean, like you're running stuff like this, man. Like Potter, he would clear stuff out. Get just enough from Cuevas, running through arm tackle. It's nice. It's a nice play. Oklahoma game field position was frustrating. Yeah, because we had Ryan Williams. He fumbled that punt. That was one of them. That led to, I think, Oklahoma's only touchdown because defense did a nice job that game. If you guys remember, defense had, I mean, I guess pretty much stops in the red zone the rest of the way outside of that one. And I want to say, yeah, we held them to field goals the rest. But yeah, they got a touchdown off of Ryan's fumble on punt. And then I know Ty threw a pick 6. And then sack fumble, another one. We had a sack fumble. That defensive end did a nice job, really nice move. I think he worked either a swipe. I can't remember. I think he worked a swipe or he's a cross chop. I think he worked a nice cross chop on Michael Carroll. Ended up in a sack fumble on Ty. I mean, Vandermark, what are you doing, man? I mean, you just out there just covering grass. But it's just all these little details, right? Like positives here. I know we got this combo block here, but you can't oversell on this combo block to the point where you're not able to climb up effectively. Like little things like that is what led to a lot of issues, right? You see what I'm saying, guys? Right? I mean, you got a 0, maybe a slight shade right here. He's comboing with Parker Brailsford. You should you see how much he gets turned here, right? I mean, you as strong as he is, man. Normally, yes, I'm all for it, man. You really got to take care of your business first. Take care of the work in front of you. But when you see your backers like already about to start flowing back to the football, bump that hip and you got to climb. We're getting way too overinvested right here. And you see it now. Granted, it doesn't really play too big of a factor. You got to make a tackle, but now you're playing from behind trying to climb up. So we talk about like little details, little stuff like that. Over here is really solid though. Caden Proctor does a really good job. Just need our tight end to do a better job with his hands, get his hands inside. That's why inside hands are important, right? You see the hands on the outside like that. That gives this guy all he needs to be able to shut off that block like that. But there we go. Play number 1. What'd they go for? 6 yards on that. We'll take that. We got FIB, right? Formation the boundary. We got trips. Or motion back over to doubles. Play action. Sorry. I wish I could let it play, guys, but I got to skip through it. Watching 15 or 56 during the play, don't hit it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You can't just be out there, man. You can't. Coach Saban's play, but if you're not going to do your job, you're just trying to get a free ticket or something like that. Trying to get you a free ticket to the game. Got boot action. Underthrow it a little bit. Let's see what we got. Got doubles again. Going outside zone. Or mid zone. Nice job on that right side. I'm trying to see who's on the back side. That's tough on Proctor. I'm not gonna lie. That's a hard block to get there. But there goes Earl Little, man. That's tough on Proctor. Let me just hit a couple of these run plays and we'll get out of here. I just want to show you guys that first drive, though, man. Or maybe it was a second drive. No, because I think we picked up this 4th down, right? Is that what it was? Did we went for it on 4th down? Yeah. Really nice job by Parker Brailsford. You see that? Watch him turn right here, seal his guy off. Really nice job. Really nice job. Now, what we got with 56, man? I mean, 56 is out. 56 is out there just running around covering grass. He just trying to get a free ticket, man. That's what I'm saying. Like these are things that can get cleaned up, but they just make a world's difference, right? Like again, when you're climbing up, man, footwork, right? Like come on, man. And maybe this does come into play when you do have some, I guess, better athletes. I mean, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? Nice job by Formby. Really nice job. You see 74 and 71 right here. Really nice job. Look at that movement they get. That's what I'm saying. It's always, there's a couple little small details, man. You got one down here blocking downfield. Now, I don't remember seeing what he just did, but if this guy can get his hat across, right, on 6, which he should because he literally has all the leverage in the world, right? I mean, you're already beating him from a position standpoint. Plus, Proctor helps you out. I mean, like, brother, maybe Proctor maybe Proctor, pushes him back on the other side. I don't know. But it's just little stuff because you guys, look at this hole, right? I just want you guys to see this. Like, all seriousness, this is a difference between a 4-yard gain and a 40-yard gain. Boom. We got combo block here, combo block here. Really nice job. You see Parker, right? This one, if you watch Parker's tape, man, he might not be the most physically imposing guy, but it's like these things, and this is some of the stuff I saw, like the stuff out of Jackson Lloyd. Like, really nice job knowing, right? I need to seal this guy off, so I'm going to flip, right? I'm going to do a really nice, like, that is perfect. That's perfect. You don't always have to look like you mauling somebody, pancaking somebody. This is just as effective, if not more, a lot of the time. Really nice job. But where we screw up here, 56, right? Misses his block. We have a really nice combo. We're dogging this dude. We're walking this dude, 5-6 yards down the field. Maybe Proctor's a little bit too strong here and helps push him past Dewberry, but still, watch this picture real quick, though, guys. Boom. I'm going to pause it right here. Look at this. Look at this hole. Look at this lane. Right? Assuming 1 does a nice job on the safety, assuming 71 continues to work across. I mean, you put your foot in the ground, man. I mean, you get north and south. That's an explosive run, or what should be, right? Because this guy is scared of Proctor, so he's spinning out of this the wrong way. He's taking himself out of the play. But because we don't finish off on not even climbing, this was the defensive lineman, right? We don't finish here. This is execution. But you see this, right? And 1 does a good job. If Dewberry, even what's his name? What's his name? Completely whiffed. Cool, whatever. We're out of the way. But if 71 finds a way to get across and finish this block, maintain it. Now I don't know if 4 has the breakaway speed like that, but y'all are funny, man. Anyway. This is a good thing about watching tape because on the TV copy, you're not going to be able to see all these little details. But like when you go back and really just look at it, man, you're just like, God. I mean, football is just a game of inches, man. Game of inches. I mean, and to be fair, Vandermark does just enough, even though I don't like it. Sometimes we just need just enough, and he just about got that there, right? I mean, the guy didn't make the play, but. And neither did the other dude. The other dude got juked out, but it was just enough to slow down Daniel. Well, both of them were. Both these two guys that we didn't end up getting blocked. Let me keep going. I ain't trying to be here all day. We love FIB, man. Yeah, we're overload FIB right here, which kind of interesting how Florida State's lined up to that, if I'm being completely honest with you. All right, now let's see what happened here. We call this trade, right? Trade means these guys that start on one side, they trade to the other side. So we got trade going into overload. We shift back into the pistol. Looks like we're getting to zone. All right, so everybody's responsible for a zone. Got zone. $81 whiffs. Right? I'll let you guys guess where he went wrong, right? I mean, you see it. Steps. Way too big of a step. I mean, just look at this, right? And this dude's coming across your face. Blows up the whole play. But but let's look at this picture, guys. I mean, pretty nice job out here. If he doesn't whiff, right? If he doesn't whiff on this block, I mean, and you guys can see, man, that's the crazy thing about the run game. The run game is always like one guy or just like small details that make a huge difference. If 81 bases this right and he ends up, making this block, these guys do a nice job. I mean, you guys see what happens here, man. Like, so I think when you hear like the staff talk about the running game, and it might not seem like there is alarm, they're probably looking at it from the lens of like what I'm showing you. Like, man, that one guy away, you know what I mean? Like one false step, one guy just not finishing or maintaining this block away, which is technically kind of true. Potter's clearing the thing out, man. So we got to climb up, though, right? We fail to climb up. But you see the point. I mean, we were moving the football down the field and doing a good job. Here we go, Kevin Riley in there. Let's see what we got. Just zone again. Take him where they want to go. This guy's crossing face, wash his ass down where his backer is. Really nice job. I mean, that's a beautiful picture. Great run. Did some pretty good stuff on that drive. It just didn't last too long. All right. Probably gonna get out of here, guys. I'm gonna go get some food, man. What's scary about that play is the guy angled right for the gap, and the dude completely misses him with poor technique. Yeah, that's why I mean, technique and execution can solve a lot of the problems. That's why it's like, and maybe people assume, a guy that's a little bit lighter might not have as many issues with footwork and things like that. Personally, that's why I wanted to ask Coach DeBoer that, because I mean that's a big theme where everybody's saying, oh, well, he didn't have the right personnel on the offensive line that he wants. I don't even think that was so much of it. He kind of alluded to it. He made it seem like it wasn't even so much that. It really was just the execution thing. That's the way I heard his answer. So hopefully Clem can do a good job. I would love to get Coach Clem on the show. Now, I don't know about his media availability. I mean, we could definitely ask. But I know they try to push a lot through Alabama, which I get it. They want to push as much stuff through there so they can raise money. So I don't know if they would be willing to let him come on the show. I wish they would, because I think it'd be great. But I also understand me with the collective stuff. They try to, I guess, keep some of that, keep some of those things exclusive. It helps them out. That's why I don't blame Grubb for having as bad a run scheme as fans believe. Yeah, to a point, Gray. Definitely to a point. But I think there were some things maybe not so much all the time, but I mean, there definitely were things that we could have done to put our guys in better position. Yeah, I can try to jump on y'all's thing sometime. I'll be honest, like, before I do this, I'm flooded with doing stuff, but then afterwards, I'm like a one-man army when it comes to all our stuff. So I'm like editing, posting, uploading, and it's a lot. But I can definitely try to jump on with you guys at some point, even if it's just for a few minutes, man. Like tonight, what are you guys referring to? What's tonight? You're not talking about Clem, are you? Nick, what's going on, man? Don't worry about getting here late, brother. Barrett Jones was the best I've seen using defenders' leverage against them. Yeah, we call it position blocking, right? So position blocking is just that, man. You're a lot of tight ends do it because the tight ends don't want to be those big physical guys. You got some of them, but what they do is they position block. So they know, hey, man, I'm responsible for this C area right here. I need to cut this guy off. They're not going to try to go, base a defensive end up that they know is more physical than them. They're going to try to what? They're going to try to get, win the leverage battle and seal them off. Because that's all they need to do. And it only has to do, a couple seconds sometimes is all it takes, right? So that's what I'm saying from a technique standpoint. Like, yes, mentality is huge. And yes, in the run game, you got to be physical. You got to play with tenacity. Like all that is 100% true. But just like you see with Parker Brailsford, like Parker Brailsford's snappy, but what made him so good was that, between the ears, man, he knew, right? This is the block that we have. This is the position that I need to have. This is the leverage that I need to have. I don't necessarily need to go maul this guy. It don't always have to be that. Like, that's great if you could do that. But sometimes just the position blocking itself, your back just needs enough of a lane or a window to be able to hit the hole. Oh, you guys are live now. I'm sorry. At 8? What's today? Thursday? Oh, man. I might be around or something. I can let you know. I might be eating dinner or something, but maybe after that I can jump on, just chop it up for a few minutes. Maybe do something like that. Earl played like prime Ed Reed and didn't do anything close to this the rest of the season. Hey, to be fair, he was a dog against us in this game. He was a dog against us. Now, I didn't really keep up with him, so I don't know 100%, but yeah, he had a good game against us, though. Yeah, Indiana's a good example. Indiana's definitely very physical, but just like when I broke down that Alabama-Indiana game, if you watch them up front as they block, yes, they're very physical, but you can just tell those guys are so well coached. They know, right? Like, hey, if I got to seal off his backside, I need to seal off his backside. If we're working a combo block, I need to make sure, yes, I need to help out the guy I'm doubling with. But if that just means, due to his leverage or what they're doing, even post snap, just bang his hip real quick, and I have to climb up, right? Because ultimately, that's where I need to end up at. Now, you don't want to rush it. You don't want to immediately climb and leave your guys stranded, and then there's a disconnect. You guys are on different levels. He ends up splitting and ends up making the play in the backfield. Don't get me wrong, right? You always got to take care of the work in front of you. But you also have to do it with it in mind that ultimately, I got to climb to this mic. I got to climb to the wheel. I got to get to that second level. That also is important. And so when it comes to footwork, getting your head across, just really like football. Listen, I think a lot of it comes down to football IQ. That's why some of the stuff I've seen out of Jackson Lloyd, I thought showed high football IQ or just good feel for the game. Give an example, like pass rush. It's great when you have a pass rusher that can go line up on the edge and go beat guys with speed. He's exploding out of a cannon. He's got great, hand combat, can bend the edge better than most. But you would be surprised at how many guys are so effective off the edge just by the feel they have for pass rush. I'm one of those guys. Like, I was a really good athlete, but best believe there's guys that were faster than me, had better bend than me. But what made me, so effective, to be able to get 9 sacks my senior year, half the sacks I got were because I was a disciplined rusher and somebody that took pride in the technical side of things. That's always big. But then also just having a good feel, like not rushing past the quarterback, not just running down the middle of a guy. We always said you rush half a man. You never just rush down the middle of a guy. If you're going speed to power, you'll end up down the middle of a guy, but you still got to sell speed, set it up, get vertical, and then you turn and go to power. Those little details, they matter, right? So even just me having a good feel. So if I know, hey, we're running a text game right here. I have a guy that's coming to pick that tackle for me. He's going to come pick that inside hit with the tackle. I am now the looper, so I could turn into an A-gap rusher. It is pivotal that I know, number one, I understand that I'm going to be the rapper, but first and foremost, I have to sell up field. Why? Because if I don't, and that tackle has any indication that I'm about to run a text game or a TE stun, whatever you guys want to call it, they're one and the same, that tackle is going to feel me not getting upfield, and he's going to say, oh, I know what's coming, text. Where's he going to go? Turn, transfer my eyes. He's going to ear hole my guy. And then we're really screwed, right? And it's going to be ineffective. So it's just like little things like that, man. It's like you have to, like the higher level you're playing at, like those little things add up, man. And I just think that would help us out tremendously to put a bow on all this. So that's why sometimes like hearing, like when we heard Ty talk about that, like, oh, well, I knew everything was what was coming. They did everything I expected, but they just executed at such a high level. Why aren't we viewing ourselves like that? Like, why aren't we taking pride on saying, hey, we execute at this high of a level? That's just interesting to me. Then also just to me, I'm being honest, it sounds like we just overlooked a team like Indiana. I mean, I'll be honest. I talked to several people in the building, and they kind of made it seem like, I'll word it like this. They were very confident going into that Indiana game. People in that building were very confident going into the Indiana game. Because I remember thinking, I'm like, dang, kind of it sounds like they're not really too concerned about it. I mean, which I get. You're not, as a football player, staff, whatever. I mean, everybody thinks you're going to win every single game. I get that. But at the same time, it was like, I don't know. I'm like, the way I was watching their tape and coming away with it, it didn't seem like it was lining up. And now I'm hearing all these players talk. I'm like, I almost feel like everybody in that building kind of underestimated Indiana. Whether it be because of the program themselves, the conference, I don't know. But we need to find a way to have that level of execution. People can talk about the age difference with those players for Indiana. That to me doesn't move the needle enough. What really separated them was the physicality and the level of execution, which I guess in turn, if you're an older player, more experienced, I mean, it's a little bit easier to get those guys to do some of those things consistently maybe. But yeah, that really stood out to me. All right, I'm going to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. We got a free for all Friday. I don't think we have anybody lined up. Maybe I'll see if Ryan will jump on. He said this week, so I'll reach out to him and yeah, we'll roll from there. We'll do our superlatives tomorrow for the whole spring stuff. We'll circle back to that. But what was amusing is even the sports journalists were saying that all year. They're solid and make no mistakes. Why are they hard to beat? Yeah, no, that's what was interesting, man. Majority of people you sit there and turn on ESPN were saying that same thing. I'll be honest, I didn't keep up with Indiana a whole bunch, but I was hearing them talk about that. So I'm like, let me go look at it. And when I watched, I'm like, damn, yeah, they're right. They really do play exactly like these people. Because sometimes, you hear a lot of pundits that are saying stuff, and sometimes they just be talking. But this time I was like, all right, let me go see if they're really like that disciplined. Like why everybody's raving about it. And when I turned on the tape, I was like, absolutely. Like not even a doubt in my mind. Yes, they are. Did you break down the Vandy game? If I did, that would have been from like that season. So I don't remember if we did a specific video. I can't remember if we did a specific video breaking it down. Oh, Chuck might be a little bit behind on the stream. He said, I agree with Corey. Bama's lacking toughness and physicality. Getting whipped on the line of scrimmage. We've become a finesse team. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with my dad on a number of those things he's saying. I want to be clear. I mean, I just have to give pushback because he takes it to like level 10, right? Where he'll take it from where in reality is the truth is Alabama made progress from year 1 to year 2. That's a fact. It's indisputable, right? The proof is in the it's a fact. The truth is Alabama made it to the SEC championship game after going on a run of, I guess 4 straight ranked games, playing teams like Georgia, playing teams like LSU, playing teams like Tennessee were solid. I mean, one of the more explosive offenses in the country. I mean, like, Alabama did some good stuff last year, right? Like, those are facts. There's like, no one can argue that. But it's also a fact, like what Chuck just said and what my dad was saying, it's also a fact that we got out physical, we were inconsistent, and we got out coached a number of times. So, I mean, like, those are all facts. So my whole thing is everything, in my opinion, can be true at the same time. But with my dad, though, he's like, all right, I'm going to take, the critical issues here, and I'm going to plaster those on the forefront, and I'm not going to acknowledge anything else. So what happens is it sounds like I'm almost defending some of the bad qualities that he's referring to, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I agree with that 100% because I understand what it took for us to be successful. Your dad speaks for some of us Alabama fans. We see the way he's saying it. We appreciate his perspective. Absolutely. No. And yeah, no, there are people that definitely, they go just as hard. There's a lot of Alabama fans that go just as hard as he does. It's just from he likes getting me riled up. Oh, part of it, not just me. He likes get riling up the other end of it for sure, 100%. Because he knows it makes for entertainment. Like, trust me, he knows. My thing is, the difference is though, I'm the one that played here. I'm the one that, works with the broadcast team. I'm the one that's around. So I just also try to be mindful of that stuff because it's all great for entertainment, but you also got to remember, like, you don't ever want to step on people's toes in a way where even if you're just having an honest conversation, which, again, it's fair. Everybody's entitled to have an opinion, but you also don't want to be that guy where, like, you see, for example, you saw what happened with the Damian Harris thing, which I don't think for a second anybody would ever even put me in that category, even my dad really. But people hear things. I mean, they heard what Damian said and they were using it on, like, social media stuff. You don't want people to take things personal. And so I just try. That's why I sound the way I sound. I just don't want people to take it the wrong way, then take what he's saying and put that label on me, because I'm not saying it like that at all. So that's why it seems like that. But I think it's great entertainment, man. I mean, that's listen, we just got voted best sports talk show. Granted, he, hardly on the show last year, but a lot of it, a lot of people like that aspect when we have the back and forth. Like, I mean, it's entertaining. So hard for me to truly believe he's going to win here because of lack of running game, running the balls mentality. No, I definitely, I hear you. I mean, the good news is they definitely are. They're putting an emphasis on it. You know what I mean? Like, they're working at it. Like, trust me. Like, they're trying to improve. They really are. So, I mean, as long as they keep working at it, I can't guarantee they're going to magically be one of the best rushing teams in the country. But I think with the attention that they're putting on it, it should hopefully improve. No doubt it won't be like when Saban was here. Totally different coaching philosophies. Oh yeah, I don't know if you heard this too. I didn't get to this part, but hold on.
What was the transition like from Saban to DeBoer, and what was the differences from your perspective?
So the way I tell everybody is, right, like, and this Saban was so, like, it's coach and everybody else. Like, that's pretty much how it is. Because he's been doing it for so long.
You wanted that feel with it.
Exactly. Like, he's the king and everybody else follows underneath him, which is not wrong, right? It works for so many years. It is what it is, right? Like it was great. That transition from when DeBoer came, DeBoer was more of a player's coach, and it was like DeBoer and everybody else. And so he would get, he would be like, a decision would have to be made, and he'd be like, what do y'all think? And of course, right, that first year, we were kind of caught off guard. Like, what do you mean? What do we think? And so it was very.
I said, what do you think? You would have thought it was a trap or something.
Yeah, you'd be like, I don't care what you think. Yeah, exactly. But this second year, it was really cool because it was finally like, all right, we understand him a little bit better. He understands us a little bit better. And we kind of had a better feeling, and you could kind of see the success that we had. But I don't think there's a right or wrong way to do it. It just was so different than what we were used to. But it was super cool, and being able to see both of them, it was super, super blessed.
So I know you guys are just talking about totally different worlds and styles, but I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that was from yesterday with Caleb Downs. But anyway, all right, I'm going to get out of here for today. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Free for All Friday coming up tomorrow. Hope you guys have a great rest of y'all's day. If you guys are watching the X, man, we're on the road to 5K on our YouTube channel. We're getting close. We're really close. So if you guys don't mind, man, head on over there, hit that subscribe button. We'll post extra content over there, clips, shorts, all that good stuff, and more coming up down the road. And yeah, always like the video, shares, all that stuff helps out. We appreciate you guys so much for all your support. And with that said, we look forward to doing it again tomorrow. Jeff, yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Roll Tide. We'll see you, brother. Bandy game tomorrow. Maybe we can take a few looks over there. But you all want the 2024 Vandy game. And yeah, check Offsides, those guys out tonight at 8. They're doing their show live, so check them out as well. Smoke, I appreciate that reminder and hitting that like button on the way out. No doubt about it. Good deal. Yeah, Agent, I'll keep you posted. We might do a little bit of the Vanderbilt game tomorrow. We'll get to the superlatives and stuff during the show, and we'll kind of see where we're at some point. But until then, y'all be blessed. We'll see you guys then.